We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast dedicated to covering the entire discography of the band Arctic Monkeys in chronological order. My name is Justin, and tonight's episode is Series 5, Episode 9, where we will be talking about Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High, the 9th track off the album AM. But before we get into all that, first let me introduce my co-host and creator of this podcast. He's the guy who's always talking the same shite about Miles Kane. It's Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, don't just pretend it's me that's track to the date with Miles. It was funny actually because I did a watch along for the subscribers last week while you were away, and you'd kind of lumped me with because you said, "Oh no, we do want to TLSP watch alongs because you want less time with Miles." So I just I had a glass of wine and watched it for 45 minutes and just got steadily drunker and steadily angrier at Miles, I think, during it. But yeah, no, we're back. No one else had a break, but we had a week's break, didn't we? In between.
Yeah.
And,
it's weird how the breaks have lined up kind of perfectly separating this album, though, because now we are heading into what feels like the kind of final run, after we got
we
through
had
the
one
melodic
before
songs.
one before number one party anthem, and now one before Why'd You Only Call Me High, didn't we? So that's the perfect place to have a break. And then we're going to be recording them straight up until I go on holiday, and then we'll have a break and we'll come back and do the wrap up. But none of that matters to you guys because you're not going to get a break. You're going to get it all. So in order. So really pointless for us to talk about it. But we have got an absolutely cram-packed show today. This is obviously back to being after a few weeks of a month of No One Party Anthem was a big episode for us to talk about, but it wasn't packed with information and stuff. Whereas this one is packed with all sorts. And I noticed listening back to No One Party Anthem this week that there's a part when I said before we did the info, and we've got some really interesting covers today, and there's no covers for that song. So I don't know why I said that in the intro. I thought people must have heard that and then thought, why did he then not play anything? I must have been interested in something else.
I think covers
that was
for maybe our covers.
Oh, our covers. There you go. See,
but they weren't playing on the version you were listening to. See, this is why you need me on the podcast.
We got to tease stuff for
the
you got to tease the subscribers though. You see, that's what I'm doing. You got to get them,
yeah, but then it confused you.
It confused me as someone who listens to the non-subscriber one to check for edits. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh well, it's because we're doing them in advance. You see. That was ages ago for us. No one party.
It does feel a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't even remember. That's why it's good listening to them because I have no idea what we said because it feels like it was about a month ago, but it feels like a long time ago. But yeah, so we won't. Before we talk about today's track, though, before we play the clip and talk about it, we do have some admin to go through. The first one I want to say is just to address it from last week's Fireside episode. I mentioned on that I would do the solo with One for the Road in there. You'll notice when you heard that wasn't featured in the episode, and that's because it was crap and I couldn't make it sound any good. So I didn't want to waste your time with it. It was awful. So if anyone listening is better at adjusting stuff like that on sound editing or something like that, then feel free to do it and send it to us and we'll play it. But I could not put the One for the Road solo in Fireside without it just sounding absolutely terrible, so I didn't bother. Because they did it in a different key, right? So none of it made sense.
Well, and it's not isolated. Probably you probably couldn't just get the solo.
No, and it can sometimes. Yeah, no, it wasn't isolated. No, it was just the solo part,
the instrumental.
Yeah. So yeah, again, didn't really work, so it was kind of pointless. But so that's why it wasn't there, if anyone was wondering. But we do have some listener correspondence. It's all kicking in now, isn't it? So additionally, do you remember last week? I think it was last week or the week before when we had a comment on the Spotify. Which I kind of posed about Arctic Monkeys. I love for Arctic Monkeys, but some misogyny perhaps in the lyrics. Well, the same person emailed us, who it turns out is called Michaela. Now, when she emailed here, she won't have heard our responses to that because that episode hadn't gone out at the point that she emailed us. But she sent us some interesting emails. Hi, I just listened to your Arabella podcast. As I have developed an obsession with Alex Turner, it is only... Join the club. It is only fitting that I do my chores listening to other people talk about this obsession. I had connected with you through Instagram many months ago. I remember we did chat about the lyrics via Instagram. We had some nice discussions about lyrics. But since Zuckerberg is a creep and the world is a bit of a mess, I decided to ditch social media. Fair enough. I haven't missed it at all, except any news that may pop up related to Alex. I am happily married with a fulfilling career and 2 beautiful children, so I'm not sure why the obsession, but there is something about that man and his body of work that intrigues me. He's an enigma. He truly has spoiled me for many other musicians. Tell me about it. It's been my life since I was 16. So many musicians that I could like that I don't because of Alex. Arabella is up there as one of my favourites. Ooh, Justin. Alex has a way of turning lust into a very enjoyable thing to imagine. I mean, I've always found lust as a very enjoyable thing to imagine anyway. But
that's kind of like the best thing to imagine, right?
She says, as a woman, these lyrics don't come off as creepy, but rather you feel like you are being carried along with his fixation. He has such an imaginative way of seeing the world. I remember in junior high, grade 8, age 15 in Canada, I had asked a boy for a sip of his Coke. While I was drinking, he made a crude comment, and as I handed it back to him, I told him to fuck off, which is great. Apparently, after that, he had a massive crush on me. That's men, though. That is men. But men can be daft sometimes. Yeah, we all know that. Pulling the pigtails and running away. We all know that one. For me, that memory makes listening to the Mexican Coke line all the more relevant. Mexican Cokes are much better, by the way. Agreed. However, their music videos stink and are very dated and misogynistic. I hope that they evolve their visual representations. Thanks for your podcast. I hope to one day see them in Paris at the Olympia. If you ever get an inside scoop of their tours, please let me know. Yeah, don't worry, we will. I'd love to see a concert of another fan. So if anyone is in Paris, Gay Paris, then get in touch and we can hook you both up and you can go see a gig together. So with that one, I kind of, obviously interesting there from a woman's point of view. She doesn't find it misogynistic. It's just kind of being taken on for the ride. And also the thing about the video, I think we kind of addressed the music videos last week where I was like, have you seen all of them? Because I feel like some of them stink, but some of them are really good in the early days and to come.
Yeah, we just we came to the conclusion we assumed she was probably talking just about AM.
We think so. So let us know if you were, because I think some of the early videos are really good and the next album videos are very interesting. Yeah. And not And then I asked her if it's okay to read the comments. So she said, sure, go ahead and read my comments. She has many things to say about his music, but I'm not sure if anyone else wants to hear them. Well, that's what I thought 2 years ago. So there you go. Yeah, I love how you define all the...
Almost 3 years, Dan.
Is it? Yeah, God, it is. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I love how you... 4 more years. 4 more years. Doing the albums. Yeah, I love how you defended all the points Justin tried to make. I was cheering for you. Oh, I think it wasn't quite like that, but how dare he? And yes, that was... she's put a laughing face though, so don't worry. She said, Alex is so endearing. His romantic or lusty reflections or his keen observations of scoundrels or world leaders to come makes me want to be his friend. I don't need to be his girlfriend, but I love to be his voice of reason. There you go. Nice use of a lyric there. She said she meant to also comment that what she likes about AM is the articulations. Alex articulates a thought and the band articulates the music, which is something we've been talking about, I think, as we go. Each instrument has something to say in a unique way, just like his lyrics, which I think we've talked about how sometimes that music, particularly, I think this week when people have heard, well, everyone's heard everything at this point, but for us, Number One Party Anthem, talking about how that kind of, some of it matched the kind of anxiety, and we've talked about that a lot, and I think we talked about that a lot on Fireside as well last week, so completely agree. And we also had a message from Christopher Gale, the Gale man, caught in a gale. Strong gales predicted today. And he said, hi guys, been listening to the Party Anthem episode today, and this was last week, so he must be a subscriber, so thank you very much, which I think does that.
Thank you.
Does that owe him a... I forgot it loops now.
It's so short too.
I'll be so careful with that one. Yeah, subscribers on there, but we've had to change our systems and stuff. It's a bit crazy, but we're getting through it. So he said, hi guys, been listening to the Party Anthem episode today and your discussion around Cantona or antenna, if you recall, Justin. Personally, yes. I've always heard it as antenna, but I hate Man United, so maybe I'm biased. He said there's an interview Alex has done with a French sports paper before the car was released, and he said it is antenna, but he wished he had thought of Cantona. Who knows if he's telling the truth? The article's behind a paywall, but I found the translation of it on an AM forum. Antenna. He says, I've been talking to a Frenchman about football for 20 minutes now, and I was surprised that Cantona hadn't been mentioned yet. He laughs. I've heard about this rumour, and to be honest, I would have loved to have had this idea and to have mentioned Cantona in a title, but I didn't. It just goes to show that I still have some way to go. Anyway, I wouldn't risk singing Cantona's name during a concert because I pronounce it in English. It wouldn't sound like the word antenna at all, and I'd be afraid it would derail the whole song, which is somewhat one of the reasons why, because when I listened to the episode, we fell into the bracket of it probably being antenna, but Cantona is a nice idea, and it's quite interesting that it still works with the lyric, if you did think it was that.
Yeah.
But we kind of came to the conclusion that he wouldn't be saying it right if he said it, because it's Cantona, not Cantona. But I will say this, Alex. You do that quite a lot, though, where you say a word completely different to how people say it to make it fit in the song. Like, so let's not pretend that you don't, Alex. But I think that's pretty conclusive, right? That it is antenna, but it's nice. But he wishes he had done it. And Christopher ends the email with enjoying the different takes on the AM songs. Agree with Justin on some and Dan on others. So there you go. There you go. We're hitting people both ways.
At least we got a little
exactly
variety
what we want.
there.
And he said least favorite AM song is Snap Out of It. So hopefully one of you will echo my thoughts. Well, we'll find out next week.
One more week, buddy.
One more week, and you will find out. So thank you very much, Christopher, for your message there. And then we had a message yesterday from our regular contributor, I think we would call him at this point, Mr. Simon Love. Do you remember us kind of saying that he should come on for the wrap up?
Yeah, he's kind of taken my place, right? Like we've like moved.
Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, before we get into that, he did also say, well, we had a lot of chat about Miles, where we were mocking Miles, me and Simon, because he's not a Miles fan either, so we won't delve into that. But he did mention a saw a clip where someone asked Miles an ex firm if Alex would be at the final Lead Mill show, and he said, "My bro always knows the door. My bro knows the door is always open," is what Miles said, and Simon said, "I bet it is." Yes, he's all he's got, really. But he then messaged us to say, just catching up on the last two shows. In Arabella, I too believe Wishing You with a Bottle was about oral sex, but I also thought. But I also thought the bit about riding a little finger was about pegging, so swings and roundabouts. So, my only response to that was absolute depravity. The pair of you are absolutely depraved. I won't have it. And he also said, "Three Men and a Little Lady" was the title of the sequel to "Three Men and a Baby." So there you go. And he also said, would there be a chance that the mention of her being a modern lover could be a shout out to Jonathan Richman's band? Now, Jonathan Richman has a band called Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers. So perhaps, who knows where Alex gets his shout outs from. And then yesterday he messaged me after hearing them One Party Anthem, and he said, "Tar for the shout out. I'd love to come on the wrap up show." So we will negotiate making that work, Simon. And he said, in relation to today's episode, here's a song, because he was a musician, Simon. I found some of his songs on YouTube, if you recall. And he said, here's a song where I ripped the chorus off from number one Party Anthem. So would you like to hear that? This is a song called Tennis Fan by Simon. And I think you might be able to hear what he's talking about.
You wanted new balls. I never knew you were a tennis fan. Despite all you went through. How was I to know that love meant nothing to you? You took advantage.
So there you go. I like that song though. I listened to it. I really liked it. It does feel very Arctic Monkeys inspired, doesn't it? And obviously that number one, not just number one Party Anthem, but like First Adolescent, stuff like that. Suck It and See all over it, I think. And I actually said to him that the opening of that particular song, Tennis Fan, sounds like one of my favorite songs. A song that I forgot to put in my favorite songs when we did our discussion at the start of the series. A song called "I'd Love You to Want Me" by Lobo, which is one of my favorite songs ever, and I forgot about it. And it sounds like it, and he hasn't responded to that, even though he's seen it. So I hope I didn't offend him by saying that. But it just reminded me of it in a good way, in a positive way. I'm sure he's just busy. But that's it. That concludes our. Thank you all for getting in touch via arcticmonkeyspodcast@gmail.com and our Instagram, which is Arctic Podcast, I believe, Arctic Podcast.
Yep.
And yeah, keep it coming. I love it. Love the interaction. Love the discussion. We'll probably get some responses to those as well in the coming weeks. So cool
yeah,
stuff.
it's finally kicking off now. Like we said, we record a lot in advance and then slowly release it, and then it's all
tends to
coming
slowly
around.
come together. And then I think like if there's any after we finish recording them that come in, we could do a little roundup of them, something like that. But so without further ado, we can hear our thoughts on the track now. So shall we have a little listen? A little. I sound like someone from your end. A little listen. A little listen to this track. Why do you want to call me when you're high?
Tells me it's home time, but I'm not finished, 'cause you're not by my side.
So
honestly, that's one of the better live versions I've heard, honestly.
So I picked it because I had a feeling that one of the discussions today would be thinness live, perhaps. So I thought I'd find one where perhaps they excelled at it. So I did. I found that one. That was from Rendon Leeds 2014, a gig that we've used a few clips on because it seems like a lot of the songs sounded great. Maybe because that was 2014, maybe they had refined them on the tour live and got them to that point.
Sound,
so
yeah.
And that was obviously back in the summer, so they would have been touring for like a year at that point nearly. So why do you want to call me when you're high, Justin? I remember loving this song straight away. It was just a cool song, and it was just like, wow, this is good. This is cool. I enjoyed it. I don't think I have any particular. We just did in our pre-show. We did Dre 2001 is the pair now, which I think was an excellent choice. And there were so many parallels I felt to this track as well. And in a similar way to the songs on that album, you know, I just was so in love with the beat straight away and the music. And then I even though there's no depth to the lyrics, I really love what he's singing about. It's very relatable. It's almost like first album relatability-ness with this, because we've all, don't say everyone's done it. Maybe not everyone's as bad a guy as I have been before, but I have been this guy. 100% been this guy. And I think actually this is a song that kind of goes the other way on the misogyny, because I don't think the character in this comes out of it positively. On top, no. So it's actually from the woman's point of view is the taste of it, really, and the video shows that as well when we watch that later. So I absolutely adore this track. It's up there. Like, it's not like my favorite on the album, but it's just when it comes on, it's just nice to listen to. It's just, if that comes on, I ain't skipping it. I'm going, oh yeah, this is cool. If I'm out and it comes on in a bar, then fantastic, even better, you know. I remember at the time all of it capturing me, being out that kind of same age and being in bars, and the video, seeing them in a bar and the kind of thing that we'd be doing was so cool to see them in that kind of normal environment, and just feeling, not for a long time, but you do it a lot on this album, but this is one of the most, I think, not for a long time after the first album, did you feel that same sense of relatability to him? I know the songs on Suck It and See that I relate to a lot from a personal point of view, but just speaking generally, that sort of relatability of going out and living life in the same way, this was one of the ones where it did bring you back to that skill that he has to make you feel connected and relatable to the track. So yeah, I love all this track. I have no issues with it, apart from the fact I have heard some live where at first where it did sound a bit thin, but that one we just played kind of redeemed it. So yeah, I really like it. What do you think? You're the hip hop fan, so
yeah, I really like this song. I've always liked this song. It's kind of like you. It's maybe not one of my favorites. It's one of those that got played a lot, you know. So I kind of have to give it some space sometimes to because I've heard it so much. But yeah, I said earlier in this coverage that you've got your two kind of songs, your Do I Want to Knows or Are You Mines, and that I prefer the slower, vibier kind of song. So yeah, I dig on this one. I said the same thing as you. It's so much like almost like the first two albums combined, because it's got more of that I think favorite worst nightmare sound, but the kind of relatability and going outness of the first album. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It
and
can
yeah,
sound very bad live. There was one that I listened to, Le Album de la Semaine or something in France, and Jesus Christ, like this song can sound really bad live, but I will say they do an acoustic version. Maybe I don't know if we're listening to it at the end, but they did an
we will at the
acoustic
end, yeah.
version, and it sounds good. So I knew like it can be played in a competent way, but it's one of those where it can easily sound very bad live.
Do you know, it kind of relates to hip hop again. I've heard so many hip hop live performances that just sound bad because they can't capture that overproduction in the studio live with the bass and stuff. And I think that's the main problem that a lot of the tracks that we've complained about have. And it's not even necessarily a dig at the band, but it's just like when you make a produced album in this way, it must be so hard to get that sound live. And that's why maybe it took them a year of touring to kind of nail it, because that one did sound actually really good then. But I know what you mean about the acoustic one, and I think because it's interesting that this has a bit, unlike the others, where it goes to chords and strumming, right, where it builds up that way, which is quite a change in it. If you remember, there was that thing that they have another version of this that sounds like "Are You Mine," that ilk, which, and I think that's maybe the basis of the song was maybe more in as a song originally rather than the beat, like some of the other ones have been. So maybe that's why it kind of works. But yeah, I think like some live performances aside, it is a classic. But like you, there are times when I need space from it. I've heard it so much that I won't listen to it a lot. But if I'm like so there's a bar down the road for me that has a little jukebox in it, and it play, goes supers. And if I go to the jukebox and I search Arctic Monkeys, which is the first thing I do, obviously when I go to the jukebox, and everyone that I'm with goes, "Oh, Arctic Monkeys are about to come on," when I go to the jukebox and sort of sighs, and they're right, they are right, and I'll search it and it'll come up. Why do you want like AM tracks usually come up first, and I always play Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High, because it's a song for being in a bar, right? It's a song to hear when you're in that kind of drunk state and kind of enjoying it. So, like a lot of hip hop, I think, as well.
Sure.
It's just nice to listen to when you're on a vibe, right? So yeah, no, love it. No complaints. We have no complaints apart from the live then, as of yet. But we will for subscribers and for look. Michaela, unfortunately, you're not a subscriber. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, by the way. But you're not a subscriber, but your misogyny question will be discussed heavily, I imagine, in the videos to this one, because although I think he comes out on top, there's some stuff in the video that you could discuss from my memory. But I actually think this is one of the best videos they've done. Like, it's a proper short film type video. I think it's really interesting. And Alex is the star of the video, which doesn't happen a lot in this one, is it, as well?
That's
so
true,
he was right there.
A lot of the time
How many
he's
are
not
there?
in them at all, yeah.
Well, before this one, before Tranquility, sorry, how many of them is he actually like in on his own, acting rather than just performing with the band?
Teddy.
No, not performing, just acting. I can't think.
Crying Lightning.
Oh well, yeah.
And Cornerstone.
Yes, Cornerstone is the one, yeah, the main one, really. But because there's not many, is there, where he's just the main guy?
Where he's not performing? No.
This is a very sort of 90s walking down a street style as well. Like they used to do that in the 90s, like the Verve and Oasis and stuff. You walking down the street singing at the camera, that kind of thing. Although he doesn't sing, does he? He doesn't sing the lyrics, does he? I can't remember, but we'll find out.
He does in the mirror, right? Or I don't know. We'll have to see. I can't
well,
remember.
There's a whole
it's been a while since I watched this.
There's a really cool start to the video where the song doesn't even play and it's just them in a bar, but it starts with like, "Do I Want to Know" on in the bar, and that's what's playing. It's a very interesting take. It's kind of a bit Teddy Picker-esque in that sense, I suppose. But we will be talking about that in the video section. But before we do that, as we've just given it glowing reviews, shall we get some information on this one? Information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go? Why do you only call me when you're high? I'd had to pause them because I didn't write the full title in my notes because I couldn't be arsed, so I went to stop. But again, Ron Burgundy, I only read what's written in front of me. Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High is 2 minutes and 41 seconds long with 2.1 billion streams on Spotify. We're back in the billions, baby. So we're back down. But
I didn't realize it was a billion.
Did you not? No.
Streamer.
No, because it's less than the others that are a billion, so it's like it's like the least billion one, I think. But
that sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
Justin, this is the shortest song on the album.
Okay.
What is the shortest song on the next album?
Ooh, on the next one. Can I pull up the track list again as I do?
You can, as long as you don't look at the track lengths, yes.
Yes, I'll pull it up. I don't think it shows on Spotify. If it shows it on the first track, then I'll shut it down. But I'm just gonna pull it up on Spotify really quick. I'm gonna say Golden Trunks.
No, it's actually American Sports. 2 minutes and 38 seconds, would you believe? And I think the reason why you don't realize how short that one is because it is basically a comparison. It is basically part of a two-parter, isn't it? With
I always think of that song as one song. Yeah, with the 1 point perspective.
I have never not played them both together. Like as soon as it ends,
me too.
I've never paused or anything. So yeah, it's kind of just like one song for me. The song is 92 beats per minute and is in the key of D. It has been played live 337 times by the band, so it is a staple. Firstly, on August 30th, 2013 at the Zurich Opener. And lastly, on October 19th, 2023 at the Free Arena, Dublin, Ireland. So they did play at that last gig of the last tour. Now, it was released as the third single from the album on the 11th of August, 2013. It was written by Alex Turner and obviously production James Paul. Upon its release, many critics compared the composition of Why Do You Only Come When You're High with works by different artists. And then on 30th of August 2013, an audio track of the single's B-side, Stop the World I Want to Get Off With You, was released onto Arctic Monkeys' official YouTube channel. An accompanying music video was shot for the song by Nabil Elderkin and was released in July 2013. The band also performed the song multiple times at different venues and also on the AM tour. Now, before the album came out, this song was leaked on YouTube and social networking sites, but quickly taken down. I remember this. The whole album always, every Arctic Monkeys album leaks. I always have every Arctic Monkeys album before it gets released.
Me too.
Every time. And sometimes I wish I didn't, because then I feel like I listened to it early, but it's usually just a few days or a week before, it's not too big. But I don't know who at Domino is leaking them, but they need to sort that out, because every album comes out about 2 weeks before it is due out.
I mean, that's really every album, though, isn't it?
Maybe it's the only one I care to look for. Yeah, maybe it does happen with every album. I don't know. I've never.
I think so.
There's very few artists that I wait for the album on release day anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'll just sort of hear about it and go, oh, listen to that. I don't. Arctic Monkeys are one of the few where I'm, oh god, there's a new album out on that date. I'm gonna listen to it. Obviously now, like when I was younger, there was more, but I'm old now. I ain't got time. So the song debuted at number 8 on the UK singles chart, making it their first top 10 single since Fluorescent Adolescent, which perhaps tells you a lot about its commercial ability, because it's the only song on this album that kind of got into the actual official, not the indie chart, the top 10 singles. So number 8, which is cool.
Wow.
That was the first one in 6 years. The single's B-side, It's Not the World I Want to Get Off You, independently reached number 74 on the UK singles chart on the 8th of September 2013. And their previous single, Do I Want to Know, was still at number 21 at the time, meaning the band had 2 singles in the UK top 40 in the same week and a B-side. It also reached number 1 in the UK indie chart. In Belgium, it reached number 31 in the Flanders and number 22 in Wallonia. So there you go, respectively. It reached 42 on the Japan Hot 100. Number 96 on the Canadian Hot 100 and number 164 on France's Snap chart. France letting us down again. It charted in the top 40 of Irish singles chart, US hot rock songs and US mainstream rock, and it charted in the top 10 of Scotland's official charts, US rock airplay and US alternative songs. So it did relatively well in a lot of the alternative charts in America as well, being in the top 10. So yeah, it did pretty well everywhere from what I can see on the list there. It also got to number 26 in Lithuania, which I don't think we've had before, and number 92 in Poland. So there you go, getting a few newbies in there. So the third single from AM, this is the last in the album's trilogy of question mark songs, following Are You Mine and Do I Want to Know. So yes, I've never thought about it as a trilogy before, but there are 3, aren't there, questions? Something that comes up in the John Kennedy later on. Along John Kennedy for this one, just to add to all the stuff that's already
the
long enough to discuss
the general episode.
Yeah. Set at 3 a.m. at some party, frontman Alex Turner told Q Magazine the song was inspired by a voicemail he got along those lines. So basically, he must have been ringing a girl at 3 a.m. and he got a voicemail, her saying, "Why do you only call me when you drunk?"
Maybe it was that girl that you used to, or that you had a connection to, that used to work next to.
Perhaps, yeah. So to move into the TV and the film uses of this one, So it featured in Love Island season 5, episode 8 in 2015. Ugh, yuck. And the original season 1, episode 6 in 2013, whatever that is. Now, Justin, we do have some samples and some covers of this one by quite notable artists. So it has been sampled once by a not so notable artist. Now, this is Russian or something, so I'm not going to say this right, but Havala Sto Si Savawa by the artists Skabo and 22 Obla in 2017. They sampled Why You Only Call Me When You're High and did this with it.
Mnogi kažu da sam ispričana priča bez fantastičnih moći upravljanja masama, svedena na dosadna ponavljanja i pravdanja da nisam izgledao.
So there you go.
All right.
I'm convinced that not only does that song sample Why John Call Me High, but it samples the drums from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air opening music. Because that, as soon as he starts doing that, I was like, listen to it again. Not this bit. This is a story all about how my life got turned upside down, and I'd like to take a moment. I'm convinced. So what do you think of that?
Sounds
like
that? too goofy for me. No, I don't really like
it's
that.
a bit Eastern European music there, isn't it? But this was also covered. That was the only sample, which is surprising because I really don't. This is primed to be sampled by a good, like a rapper to do a rap over it. Like surely, so this was a big out. Like surely someone must have suggested they take this beat to do as a rap song. Like why not? It's crazy to me that it hasn't been sampled. But this was covered by initially Miley Cyrus on her Unplugged 2013. Not quite as a notorious performance as Nirvana's Unplugged, but you know, Miley Cyrus Unplugged it is, and this is her cover of Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High. Yeah, Justin. So yeah, what do you think of Miley doing it?
I was not a fan of that either. The twang that she's got going on, the way, I don't really like it.
No, I really hate it. I'm sure Old Pictures Podcast Nick said once that he really thought that was a great cover. I'm sure he said that once. I could be misquoting him there, but I'm sure he didn't. So when I got it, I was kind of like, okay, is it going to be better than I remember? But no, I thought it was bloody god awful.
Nick, the old host, said that?
Yeah, not Nick O'Malley. Yeah, Nick, the old host, sorry.
That's why he's not on this show anymore.
But yeah, maybe he might not, I don't recall him, but I seem to have a memory of him saying that, so, but I can't, because I was surprised, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll have to reassess it, but it was bloody awful. She actually is quoted of saying, according to Stephanie Chase of ContactMusic.com, Miley nailed it. And Kimberly Dadds of BuzzFeed called the version very, very good. So, but I don't think people go to BuzzFeed for their.
That doesn't sound very convincing, though, does it?
No,
it was very, very good. Whenever I hear something that's really good, I don't describe it as it was very, very good.
and Myrna Jabril of Anpop praised the performance, writing, Miley brought some British flair to her MTV Unplugged session with her amazing cover of the Arctic Monkeys hit. I mean, amazing. And Tom Brehan of Stereo Gun praised Cyrus's vocal delivery. So clearly, maybe we're on the outskirts here. Cyrus' cover stands tall. She's got enough swagger and iciness to sell the song. She's got the technical chops to hit a couple of big notes towards the end, and she sings like she knows what she's singing about. I really didn't like it. Cyrus,
you know how I feel when we're talking about
yeah, but you're wrong with that. You see, that's what you don't realize. And unfortunately, During an interview, Matt Helders, the drummer of Arctic Monkeys, revealed his love for Cyrus's version of the track. Quizzed on his favourite cover version of one of the band's songs, the drummer said, "I think Miley Cyrus' version of Why Do You Only Come When You're High? She did some bits in there I wish we'd have done. She gets higher than we can in the voice." Ugh. So there you go. Maybe we're missing something, but I thought it was awful. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on. So also this was covered by Arctic Monkeys' Friends alumni in the BBC Live Lounge in 2013. Queens of the Stone Age stopped by and did a little cover of Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High. Let's have a listen.
High, why'd you only call me when you're high? I can't see you here when I'm high. Sort of feels like I'm running out of time. Haven't found all I was hoping to find. Said you gotta be up in the morning, gonna have an early night. Starting to bore me, baby. Now'd you call me why I'm so goddamn high.
You know what's great about that is that he obviously hasn't rehearsed it before. If you look at the video, he's reading the lyrics off like a lyric sheet, and he's just clearly just completely fucked it up. And it's weird because it's almost like he doesn't know the song, but you'd think he would know the song, right? Like, he doesn't even know the way that bit goes when it stops. I mean, that bit I've always thought is impressive vocal delivery from Alex, because it is quite hard to get that speed at which he kind of amps that up there. But it's like he doesn't know the song, which, as a friend of the band and someone who was on this album twice, you'd think he would know it. But very funny. Awful, but funny.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, that one's, it's not like a good cover, but it's a very endearing cover. Like, I like to watch it sometimes just because it's like watching a friend, you know, kind of get drunk at a party and play the acoustic or something. You know, it's endearing.
I imagine they maybe had a bit of a laugh about it as well, I like to think. But
I assume, yeah.
But like the thing with the live lounge is you go in, you get a list of the songs like that you could do. You select one, you have like, I don't know, half an hour to like rehearse it and do it. So I imagine it's a case of that. They just picked, oh, that's Arctic Monkeys, let's do it. And then they just did that. But it's very funny because a lot of people go into the live lounge and do these amazing performances, and Josh Homme just couldn't give two fucks about hitting his friend's song right. This wasn't just covered, didn't just stop there with the friends of the band there. This was also covered by somebody called Jack Guamar. And they did On Like a Version, who are a band, and they did this.
Why'd you only call me when you're high? Why'd you only call me when you're high? Somewhere darker, talking same shine. I need a partner. Well, are you out tonight? It's harder and harder to get you to listen. As I go through the kids, decided the ones again I was dreaming.
So what the thing about that is, I thought they did something interesting with the music, but his vocal performance was awful, and kind of, I don't know where they're from, but it sounds like he's trying to copy Alex's northern accent in it, which is never good. Just do it in your own voice. It's never good when someone tries to ape the Sheffield accent that isn't from Sheffield. You know,
that was worse than Miley Cyrus.
But Miley Cyrus apparently is a great performance. So, you know, just says, yeah. So Jack Manoir are from Australia.
Okay.
So, you know. And so there is a band here in the UK. Well, I say band very loosely. They're like a pretend band, like a sort of boy band with instruments that are basically for young girls, called the Vamps. And they did a cover of this as well. They're awful. They're an awful band. But here they go.
Somewhere darker, talking the same. I need a partner. Ooh, well, are you out tonight? It's harder to get you to listen. Or I get through the gears, capable of making alright decisions. Have bad ideas. Now it's 3 a.m, and I'm trying to change your mind. If you multiple missed calls and
I actually kind of like that one.
Yeah,
That's like
considering
the best one so far.
I actually thought it was quite well put together, considering who they are, and that I don't like them a lot. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good compared to what we've had.
Loungy, yeah.
Did something with it, yeah, a bit different. So yeah, good stuff. And I don't message me anyone saying that the Vamps are actually good and give it a hate, because I don't care. to be quite honest with you. So, and the last cover we had is by somebody called Jessica Manning. She did a cover of this. Let's see if she, because no one's really blown us away with a cover. Let's see if she blows us away.
Now it's 3 in the morning and I'm trying to change your mind. Left you multiple missed calls and to my message you replied. Why'd you only call me when you're high? Why'd you only call me when you're high? Why'd you only call me when you're high?
I like that one.
Yeah, it's good, wasn't it? Kind of what the Arctic Monkeys do with their kind of version, I guess, on the acoustic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a nice acoustic vibe to it. That was pretty good. But shall we get to the part of the show where we talk about some of the gear they might have used for this one? Sure.
Technological advances really blooming get me in the mood.
So apparently to recreate a lot of the sounds on this, you want to use a Anna Sounds Element Spring Reverb, a 4P FX The Dane pedal, Jam Pedals Delay by Llama Extreme, and the two amps you want to use, one for Jamie, one for Alex, is Hampstead Artist 60 and a Tone King Iron Man 2 attenuator. So there you go, very specific.
Never heard
apparently
of any of those things.
No, but apparently I've heard of Anna Sound, but or am I thinking of that film company, Anna? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of the dog food brand Anna Perino. I don't know. But yeah, Anna Sounds, maybe the sort of spring reverb with sort of delay, I guess, is probably making that sort of guitar that Jamie's doing throughout it and stuff like that, I imagine. But that takes us to what is a very important part of the show for you, Justin.
Could say they're selling like ghost cookies. You could say they're selling like ghost cookies.
I forgot it repeats again. So shall we? So this is quite a few on this one. Quite a few, maybe some that we haven't had before. So I'll let you start. Let's start with the familiars. UK, okay. 4 times platinum, number 8 in the main chart. First time since Less Adolescent.
4 times platinum is gonna be.
Wait, let me tell you something before they might change it. I need to give you this piece of information very crucial. So this has started to differentiate between streaming and actual sales. So this one is in the actual sales category. There's only one in streaming. So this is actual sales, apparently. Physical sales, it says.
1.6 million?
No, it is 2.4 million.
2.4. How is that? Okay. 12. Okay. Platinum.
Maybe things had started to change.
Maybe, but with streaming or something. Okay.
Yeah. And then in the US of A, 4 times platinum as well.
4 million.
Correct.
Yeah.
Spot on the money.
US is
you got
easy,
that one.
yeah.
You got that one nailed down. Okay. Australia, gold.
200,000.
No, surprisingly, only 35,000.
Oh wow, Australia!
Yeah,
What's
just a lot of barren land and kangaroos.
I guess
in it.
so.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of people there. So, Canada, 6 times platinum.
6 times platinum. Let's say 150,000.
480,000.
Damn. Okay, I'm way off now. It's been a while, I guess, since we've done this.
And that's a lot of barren, snowy land and mooses,
I guess,
isn't it? So Denmark, platinum. The Danish, good bacon.
50,000.
90,000. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So 90,000 in Denmark. Italy, platinum.
Italy platinum is gonna be
place I'm going soon.
200,000.
70,000.
Wow, I am all off here. I'm trying to 70,000 platinum, but 90 for isn't. Denmark,
just like all
smaller?
Americans who have no idea what's going on in Europe.
Oh my god.
Mexico, a little closer to home. Mexico.
Okay.
Gold. The gold of Mexico.
Gold.
Don't know why I did that in a French accent.
200,000.
30,000 for gold in Mexico.
God, man, I'm way off.
Oh, it just did it
All
again then. It was like a sort of weird sound. That's really odd.
Man, it must not be my chair then. I don't know what it is.
It's almost
Not
like
even touching the mic.
It almost sounds like a sort of doorbell or something. It's weird. Very strange. Or like a do you have a bird? It sounds like it's almost like sort of like a parrot, like a budgie or something. Portugal, 4 times platinum. Place where you can buy drugs legally.
4 times.
Would this album do well in a place where you can buy drugs legally? That's what you can toss yourself.
150,000.
40,000.
Do you think is 10,000?
Yeah, it's not very big. And these are also physical sales, so maybe it's like different when it's just physical over streaming or something like that.
I feel like I'm way off this time.
Yeah. And then Spain, platinum.
30,000.
60,000. Should have gone higher than Portugal.
Okay. Well, you said Portugal 4 times platinum though, so really 1 times platinum would be 10,000. So
yeah, but Spain
would be
much bigger than Portugal. You see, so I think that might be it. So the population is much higher in Spain, so 60,000 is platinum. Yeah, I don't know how they work these things out. I don't even know if they do it on a population basis. I don't even know how it works.
I assume so. It seems like they do. It seems what it seems like it's based on. And
Spain is much bigger than Portugal. I know that as an American, you think Spain and Portugal are basically the same place because that's but they are different. No, you're one of the well-traveled Americans. You're not like that. You're not a Midwesterner, are you? That's never left the state.
I am not a Midwesterner.
No, in any sense. So last one is purely streaming, no physical sales in Greece. Yes, bad economy, but what are they spending the record? 3 times platinum.
3 times platinum. Greece is small. A landlocked country, though. I know that for sure.
bear in mind, nobody works in Greece. It's bad economy, and they just sit around eating gyros all day. So they got a lot of time to stream songs.
You said 3
times
platinum?
I kid. Yeah, 3 times platinum. This is a shocking amount. I'm going to tell you that it's a shocking amount.
Really? Okay, wouldn't you just assume that it's like similar to Portugal? So Portugal would have been like 40,000.
This is extremely
all right.
shocking
Well,
amount.
then 200,000.
6 million.
What? How? See, that
6 million streams is free. Do you think they put different provisos on what gets platinum free stream into physical? Because physical is
gotta be, because that doesn't make any sense.
Because that would be 2 million streams is a platinum stream. So maybe they do differentiate between them.
I guess they have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said Greece is a small country. I guess it is.
Small landlocked country. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. A lot of different ones there, but yeah, we offended many countries there. So so Helders spoke about this album, and he said there is a weird version that I've got. Oh no, sorry, this is Alex. There is a weird version that I've got somewhere of Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High that sounds a bit like Are You Mine. It is really fun to listen to, but it just wouldn't have worked. Oh no, sorry, I'm getting confused. This is Helders. That's Helders saying that, and then he went on to say. Helders. I think once Alex is done with something, he really has to feel like he can move on to the next thing because he has given everything to that moment and there's nothing left after that. Which is a very interesting quote, isn't it? Because that kind of is how once he's done with that era, they
songs that haven't got released.
Yeah, and also that the genre shift and the fashion shift and everything about every era kind of suggests that he always wants to move on to another iteration, which is kind of like Bowie which is
That's
pretty
cool though. Which I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like I always
never
would
got
be like,
into
you know,
it.
why didn't Terror Pocket get released? But it sounds very much like Favorite Worst Nightmare. So if he just moved on from that, that era, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they could, like, you know, release them one day or something. I'll just put them on Spotify and some kind of playlist or something. It wouldn't be a big deal.
We do have 20-year anniversaries coming up, so maybe Domino will just be like, "Hey, we gotta put stuff out."
Oh,
like,
you know what? That
too.
They just did it again. That's really they may do. Yeah, they may put like a new vinyl out for the 20th anniversary and put some unreleased songs on it to try and sell it. That would be very interesting. Not really something Arctic Monkeys do, but it might be some of the Domino does. That would be cool. So we look forward to that. But as Alex told Enemy in 2013, this song sounds a lot like a Dr. Dre beat, but then we've given it an Ike Turner bowl cut, and then we've sent it galloping across the desert on a Stratocaster. I feel like that quote's been attributed to but I think that sounds like what this does sound like, to be fair. The album went on to be named as the best album of the 2010s by NME. Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High was labelled as the record's key track. This disparate collection of pilfered genres and stolen sounds came together seamlessly with Turner's too clever by half lyrics about love, lust, and the grey area in between. It's become the soundtrack for countless nights out, hookups, and come downs in every town and city of this country. It was the album of the decade, and this track was part of it. Success. Very interesting.
All right.
But let's go to the reviews part of the show then, and Justin's favourite part we're going to do, aren't we? You missed it while you've been away. You missed your little...
I know, I was just thinking about it the whole time. Ooh, we got...
Where are we?
What's this enemy list going to be?
Interesting song. Let's see. Rolling Stone put this as number 14 in the best 30 Arctic Monkeys songs. They said, "We like to go out to the desert to brown the garlic," Turner told Rolling Stone after the band recorded some of AM at Rancho de la Luna in Joshua Tree, California. "If you want to be black and white about it, that means we went out there to write. This is especially evident on Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, the most psychedelic the Monkeys would ever get. For further evidence, catch the dripping Dali clock in the video." Look forward to that. "The AM highlight is pure lounge pop, all about those late night texts you send on a bender, with a chorus so catchy it even captured the attention of Miley Cyrus. Spoiler alert, her cover is excellent." Speaking to us in 2013, Turner... I know, I feel like we're really on the other side of this. Speaking to us in 2013, Turner shared the recipe for the groove-laden gem. "We took a Dr. Dre beat from 2000. Oh, this is the same quote from like 2001. Gave it an Ike Turner Beatles bowl cut on this quote, and then set it off galloping along on a Stratocaster into a liquid live show." He's been adapting that quote. So yeah, and then Renowned for Sound said, "We've been waiting with bated breath for any news regarding the album. Then seemingly out of nowhere, the band sprung Why Do You Want to Call Me When You're High on the world, serving as the second single to AM after the slow and churning Do You Want to Know. This track is our first indication of what frontman Alex Turner meant when he declared the album would carry undertones of hip-hop and R&B. Turner's lyricism has never been doubted, but the way in which he glides through delightfully snarky rhymes on this track creates a mischievously light-hearted frolic through guitar licks and electronic drum beats. The track makes us of the same dark undercurrent the band has become known for. However, this is topped with catchy yet thoughtful beat-driven grooves that propels the track to expert status." There you go. Now the enemy list. Where do you think? Because this is like kind of uncharted territory with this one, really. Where do you think this one will be?
I would assume it would be higher than the weirdest one for this list so far has been One for the Road, which was like 21 or something, which is really kind of throwing off my general judgment. Because I would assume that this would be higher than One for the Road because it's kind of similar in its vibe, but I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it would probably be higher. So I'm going to say 15.
28.
So lower. Wow. Lower than one for the road.
And she said, "All chunky beats, clockwork drum patterns, and R&B light production. The third single." By the way, this is the third single. I just realized in that Rolling Stones review they referred to it as the second single, but it's the third single. They didn't drop this after Do I Wanna Know. It was the third single. I'm sure it was.
Okay, here's the thing that's going to go back and forth, because actually, spoiler alert, this is going to come up a little bit in our post discussion. So then this is something me and you, we keep going back and forth on within, in our discussion. When they say third, what they mean is, Are You Mine is number 1.
Right.
Do I Want to Know is number 2. So in a sense, if you separate Are You Mine, which in some cases we kind of do, it's the second.
Second, yeah. So that's why some of them are different, because some people refer to the second and some people refer to... this noted fan favourite wittily summarises an intoxicated crime that many have accidentally committed in the after hours, the rollout of one too many drunken voicemails. So, yeah, would you, 28, would you think she's kind of right there?
No, I think that's fine. I'm trying to guess based on what I think that she thinks, but 28 is reasonable to me. It's just weird. One for the Road is just really throwing me off. I feel like if that wasn't there, I would have guessed it lower, probably within like the 30s range, honestly. So not too far off, but yeah, that one is just, she must just really love that song, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, because the next few tracks are all very different, to see where she places them, because there's no kind of, we kind of guess earlier, but not so much. But we are at the part of the show now, before we get into the depths of the lyrics, where we will discuss the video for this one. So for subscribers, let's go check out the video, and for everyone else, you're gonna get an ad.
They shot it all in cinema scope.
Love the podcast? Get even more with our exclusive Patreon content. For just £3 a month, extended versions of our episodes, in both video and audio, released a week early, with pre-show album reviews specially selected to set the tone for each track. This era's artists include The Black Keys, Ashanti, Outkast, Black Sabbath, T-Rex, Elton John, Leonard Cohen, The Coral, Dr. Dre, Gorillaz, Queens of the Stone Age, and Aaliyah. Also every week, we use cutting-edge software to create AI-generated covers of each track by artists we've handpicked. Playback and commentary on official music videos for single releases. Enjoy acoustic or special live performance watch-alongs at the end of each episode. Post-show debriefs, including our new segment, It's Nothing on the Early Stuff, where we compare each track to the band's back catalogue. Plus, we regularly put out bonus content and watch-alongs. And for all you Shadow Puppets fans out there, upgrade to our £5 tier and get everything above, plus a monthly deep dive into a track from the last Shadow Puppets back catalogue, PLSP watch-alongs, and the chance to choose a non-Monkeys related track for us to cover in our usual format. So, join us now at patreon.com/Arctic Podcast and unlock the deeper cuts, behind the scenes chat, and the Arctic extras you won't find anywhere else.
So we just watched the video. Very interesting discussion, and don't think it was misogynistic, because it was what was going through his brain about what he imagined the girl was doing to other guys, because he wanted to get to her, and then she like kind of bins him off because he messaged her for a hookup. So I don't think at any point he seemed like he was the winner of the scenario, much like in the lyrics.
Yeah, it was definitely painted in the negative light.
Yeah. I mean, unlike a lot of hip hop videos, it wasn't misogynistic in any way, I don't think. But I can see why people think the sex with the girl or whatever might be. But again, it's all about the angle, the lens, right, where it comes from. But
yeah, I guess the aspect of her being placing the same woman in a position with like 6 different guys is kind of, but it is from his perspective. It's his imagination. So
yeah, and like from the actress, like it's an actress model that signed on to do the video. It's not like
Sure.
So it's
yeah,
okay.
of course.
But yeah, the music of this one then, because it's probably where most of the interesting stuff comes from. I mean, the opening beat before the vocals, the bass is incredible. It's an amazing bass line. Not in any flash way, not in any of the kind of suck it and see, like amazing ways. It's just a fucking amazing beat, and the production on it is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, we talked about Dre at the beginning, and we brought up, there was at least one song, I think specifically, we're like, oh, this kind of sounds like
I think
Why
it's the
Don't You
first
Call Me
one.
When You're High style. But yeah, I think it was the first one with Eminem on it. And yeah, it really just kind of sets that tone. Like, they let the beat loop, the beat as it were, loop through and before the vocals kick in. So yeah, I mean, it really just kind of sets that foundation, that hip hop foundation.
Do you think when you're recording this type of thing as a band, do you think they do loop the beat, or do you think Nick just plays it over and over again?
I think they
With the
actually
headphones
played
up.
it.
Yeah, they actually play it. Yeah, I suppose that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But the production on it, like the bass that James Ford's done, it sounds like we were talking about how 10 out of 10, whatever you think about everything else on 2001, the production is 10 out of 10. Shows what an amazing producer Dre is. The production on this is amazing on that bass. It sounds so good. It just gets you straight away, doesn't it? And like the drums as well, the drums are perfect in that. We talked about a lot about the drums and the bass, and they're not doing anything flashy, but they're just perfectly matching the vibe together. They sound so crisp from a production point of view, and it's just like, I hear this, I had the vinyl, I put the vinyl of AM on, and I got to this, and I turned the bass on full on my amp and the volume up full, which the neighbors don't like me doing. I've been in trouble before, but I thought I'd get away with it for one song. I put it on full, and when the bass speakers are pumping, I love that. I love seeing that pulsing. But this sounded so good, loud with those speakers pounding. It was amazing. And I just think, the drums and the bass are great.
Yeah, they have. I mean, the drums aren't just straight. They have, again, we brought up in another song. I can't remember exactly, but they've got the little clap kind of sound added in with it on top of the snare. So even just talking about the production of it all, even the basic drums, and nothing crazy is happening going on here, but you could tell that it's produced. Again, leading it to that hip hop feel.
It's what we said a lot on this album so far, isn't it? Is those sort of hip hop things, but this one more so, probably the most, I would say, hits those things we talked about a lot in the Arabella verses and the One for the Road, even Do I Want to Know. That kind of one beat, keeping it, making the production amazing on it. I think this one takes that to the next level, and like that, because apart from the chord part of it and the solo, up until that point, it is just that song in that very same vein of hip hop, when they bring things and layer it up as it goes. But there's guitar here as well, palm muted. Which we talked about again on Dre 2001. There's a couple of songs on that. I like as well that you can hear the, moving up the neck sound while they're doing it in the background as well. I love hearing that kind of sound, especially on a song like this. Really good. And they do this really nice thing that, like, just before the vocals come in, the drums stop for a beat, and you just hear the meatiness of that bass and palm muted guitar for like a second maybe, and then he comes in, and Helders comes back in, and the singing comes in. But like, it just sounds so good with that beat miss, and you just really hear that bass in that moment. It's great. Yeah, it's barely like a pause. It's you know what? It's not a pause. It's really quick, but it's so much of a pause as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's barely a pause, but it does so much.
Yeah, the intro and when, like you said, when the vocals start. But also, too, a weird thing that they do is they switch to tambourine. Once the vocals come in, there's just this little tambourine sound with the hit of the snare, I think, coming in, which is just a small little change, but something I noticed.
Yeah, they do just sort of bring that. And I think this song does have many... Like, I'm not saying it's laid in the way that you hear loads of stuff going on, but as we'll go through it now, they do add things as it goes until it builds to that guitar part. Like, they are just sort of throwing stuff on top of the same beat. It's just gradually gathering more as it goes, We pretty much get the same beat as the opening for the verse, don't we? It stays the same after that, and then I think there's no kind of changes there, is there, until the chorus?
Drum, just a little drum transition into
just a little
the chorus.
drum.
So nothing new.
Yes.
Once the tambourine comes in, nothing changes.
No, I was just gonna say that, but very subtly before the chorus, Helders throws in a couple of extra drums, isn't it? Beats in it.
A little transition, yeah.
And again, I thought those drums he throws in It's probably because like maybe it's a snare or something, but that sounds so crisp and not tinny, but like tinny. Not tinny, but that kind of sound that you can just hear. It's probably a snare. That's the kind of snare sound, isn't it? But
it is.
but
Yeah,
like a great snare drum.
Pop, pop, pop. Yeah,
Pop,
it's like
yes.
dun, dun, dun.
Sounds so good. I mean, this doing this song must have been like Helder's dream, right? This is like what he wanted to be doing, right? This kind of stuff. So he must have been loving it. And that kind of intros us, which kind of actually with Helders is we always talk about him a hip hop drummer. And what we failed to say is that a lot of the hit beats he's doing to the early stuff are really impressive because they're capturing hip hop, but they're also rock. And when he's actually doing hip hop songs, you realize that they don't do a lot with the drums in hip hop, but what they do is so meaningful and just keeping the beat. And that's why I think you forget that when he's doing the rock stuff as well, how talented he is because he can just sort of switch it to different things. And also I think hip hop is quite similar to, we'll see him next series doing the jazz stuff where he's not doing a lot, but what he's doing is having to hold that beat and do that kind of stuff, which I think he said was challenging. And it's kind of the same as hip hop stuff, right? You're just holding that same beat and doing this like sort of cool riff, but not changing it, just keeping it and adding a little bit here and there and stuff. It's kind of more impressive in a way to kind of hold that. And then, so that kind of extra drum beats introduce us to the chorus, which is the same beat, but with the addition of this very cool sounding guitar. I mean, this is pure hip hop West Coast, right? This guitar is such a vibe and perfect accompaniment to the beat. I think we talked about that guitar that was in like the Arabella verse and that, but this is like the next level. That ding 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 ding, like it's perfect.
It's almost, when you listen to it by itself, like if you were just able to isolate it, it's again almost kind of creepy. It's again, when we were talking about some Dre stuff about it's darker but kind of creepy again, like Favorite Worst Nightmare to a little bit. And I said, like One for the Road kind of reminded me of One for the Road. So yeah, it's kind of darker, but like creepy, playful, well, we actually said that about a couple of the with that creeping sound of the guitar, like that kind of like ding in the background. And I feel like with this is like I think they nailed it in Arabella, but in this one they really nailed turning the guitar into that sound that we heard on a lot of those Dre songs that wasn't a guitar. Like they've really taken this guitar riff and then put it through certain pedals and whatever in the studio, and it does sound like amazing. It does fit like a hip hop song, doesn't it? That kind of thing. It's great. I really love it, and it's such a sort of moment as well when it comes in. And I like that. And a lot of what we were hearing on that Dre album was that the song doesn't really change the beat. So even in the chorus, the beat stays the same, and they're just adding a bit here and there. And this is just what they're doing here, right? The song is exactly the same for the chorus, except he's throwing in this guitar over it, and then the vocals change slightly. Like that's pretty much it. Yeah, I really like it. There is a nice pause as well towards the end of this chorus. It's very subtle, but everything like briefly stops. It's just near the end. Everything briefly stops, and there's like a clap. I don't think it is a clap. I think it's like a drum stick or something like that. Like a production clap, or
yeah. It kind of just goes like it's like sort of like blink and you miss it type stuff. It's hard.
Oh yeah, clap. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I
don't know if it's a clap or it's like the side of a drum hit. Yeah, something like that. It was just kind of unexpected. It just shows those little things they were doing that you would never notice unless you really like intricately listen to it like we had to. I thought that was pretty cool to throw in there. And then at the end of the first chorus, to take us into the second verse, we get that sound, which kind of reminds me of the only way I can describe it is the sound of it sounds like when you're at a racetrack and a car goes meow past you like that. It's kind of like it goes meow meow. He goes like meow meow on the guitar, I assume that is. They kind of do that. We just get to introduce us to the second verse. It goes meow meow. Is that guitar? Do you think that is it like a slide up the guitar or something?
Yeah, I called it like a wailing guitar. It sounds like he's doing a slide, a kind of. Well, I don't even know if down the neck, like you're going down the neck, but with just a lot of reverb on.
Yeah, incredible lot. But then the second verse has a lot. I was thinking up. Is it like no? Yeah, I was thinking up.
Yeah.
We're just both doing this into the camera now at this point. I don't know. The second verse though, like that, also has more intricacies to it. Like it has this sort of plucking sound on the guitar, like a in the background, doesn't it? Which I think is on guitar. It could be on something else, but I think it's on guitar. And then that kind of now is coming back in and out at the end of the kind of beat. Do you think that plucking sound is guitar? That is it like palm muted guitar
plucking? I put guitar picking melody in the second verse.
Yeah, because I think James Ford does do some keys on this track, but we're not there yet. I think they're later in the song. I was trying to figure out where they were because it surprised me when I read that he did keys in it because I couldn't remember any keys in it, but they are there when you.
It's picking. Yeah.
Do you think if you took this beat and just did it on the keys, it would sound more like a sort of hip hop keyboard one? You know that?
Probably. Actually, yeah. If you took that picking and it was piano, yeah, it would almost kind of sound like that Dre song we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
That Dre one.
That's kind of what it sounds like, honestly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they did do piano. They thought it would be too similar to that.
Maybe someone's done it on YouTube. That'd be interesting to find out. And then it kind of just like layers up for the second chorus because they keep what they're doing cleverly here is we start with this drum and bass and palm muted guitar, and then the chorus brings in that other guitar, but then the guitar, that particular guitar goes away, but they bring in these other guitar elements, and then for the second chorus they keep all of that going. They don't change anything, they keep it going, but then they bring the first chorus guitar back on top of it. So you've got the plucking still, the ding ding ding, and you've got the now, but then they bring in the ding 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 ding. So they're just kind of layering it up, building the song, which I really love the way that they do that. And then I guess after the second chorus, you get to a much more sort of guitar-led part of the song, don't you? With the chord strums coming in, and it's much more of a build-up. But did you have a good say on
the drum? Well, on the bridge too. I mean, like you said, it builds and builds and builds, and even the drums are a little more intricate, even in the second verse. So it just keeps building, but then it kind of explodes into the bridge because even again the drums start the strumming, but you've got some drum rolls kind of going on. So it all of a sudden transitions more out of like the realm of the hip hop where all these like layers keep building and building, and then it kind of goes back into the rock song here.
Yeah, it's interesting that this shows, because on a lot of the hip hop songs, obviously they just stay and it sort of tails off to the end of the song, right? But because they're a band, and because obviously maybe it added these original roots as a song, to transition it into that kind of strumming is not where I expected it to go. But it's kind of where they've gone with all. And One for the Road kind of went to the solo that was a bit cosmic-y, but this one more than that straight up transitions into an actual sort of chord led song, but it kind of still feels like it's in keeping with the rest of the song, because I think what they do is like, and they have done that a lot, those build up bits. They've actually done it, they did it on Are You Mine with the transition there where it starts building towards the little now where it's kind of like it changes up a second chorus. They did it on One for the Road, they do it in Arabella before the solo, so they have been doing these kind of these bridges that build into a solo quite a lot. Mad Sounds,
later,
but what they do, they keep it the same. But I like what the bass is doing in this part as well. If you listen to it in this build-up bit, he does change the bass, obviously, and he's doing a little bit different. It's like a sort of because he's obviously it's a ding, ding, ding. He's kind of doing this matching bass with it, and the drums get very Western. I felt in this bit as well because it's a build up bit. You know, he's kind of doing the like that kind of riding on a horse across the desert type drumming. So it completely like change up from the one beat because I guess it would have been easy to just kind of keep on building that beat until you get to the bit where it's like, now you only call me when you're high bit and just do those stops and then just go into a solo there, but they kind of just completely transition it, which is cool. The background lead guitar in the build up is kind of like a trippy sound as well, like One for the Road, you know, that kind of cosmic sound, which they've done a lot on this one, which is quite interesting because I didn't realize until we started doing it that they do those kind of cosmic sounds on this one a lot in places, which is interesting to where we're going to go for the next era. But they do sound like spacey, a lot of them. We had One for the Road sounded cosmic key, Arabella. This I think did Fireside a bit, maybe. No, Fireside didn't, but just those three maybe. But yeah.
But also too, I think you get a really good listen of kind of what you're talking about because they do the stop. When he goes, "You're gonna be up in the morning, gonna have an early," but they stop. But the effects of the guitar linger on. They bleed out. So you really kind of get to hear what those kind of cosmic sounds sound like, because it can get a little like all swirling together, you know, in the production. But I think that's a really good chance to kind of hone in and hear what's going on there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I think, you know, it's one of them where it's not anything particularly like technically impressive that they're doing, but it is technically impressive from a production point of view and nailing what they were after. And it really intrigued me that they started life as like an Are You Mine, and then it completely got upheld into this kind of, you know, West Coast beat sound, which is pretty crazy when you think about that day in the studio where that transition was made. Must have been pretty mad to do that. Yeah.
Well, and it's good too because it you know, we said it has these similar things like, the first album, relatability lyrics wise or something like that, and then like, tone wise, maybe it kind of has some Fair Worst Nightmare with like the creepy low tones. But really, when you break it down, they're still doing something quite new that they've never done before, like as a band. Like you said, it's like they're constructing this hip hop song, but keeping the rock roots, you know, of finding ways to move it into, how do we not just keep the same thing going and move it into a bridge where they're strumming and stuff like that. And it's still unique within the realms of all the albums they've done so far.
Yeah, and like obviously there's a whole debate about this being the best album for some and stuff, and I think I've always kind of wondered, from a production point of view, am I going to say this is like the reason people think this is the most accomplished is it's because it's the most accomplished from a production point of view, right? But you know, it's really intriguing the next era we're going to go into in that album, and when we're breaking down the music and listen to that on the instrumentals intricately, I think there's going to be so much to pick up on that maybe we've not even heard before when we're doing those instrumentals. So that's the only album that I think would vie for this one from a production point of view, where you can go, actually, maybe Tranquility did have more layers to it and stuff. So interesting that these two are both very intricately produced, but are very drastically different albums in every way, you know, like couldn't be further apart.
Opinions and style
in every way, style, music, lyrics, like you name it, everything is completely turned on its head. So yeah, it's going to be a very cool transition for us as well. And we are taking a 5-year break in between this and that, so you know, you wait until you come back. So yeah, obviously.
But we're going to be recording during that whole time because each episode is going to have to be split like 10 hours.
But yeah, we do get a pause after that kind of build up part, and this is where the keys by James Ford, I think, become more prominent because they hang over the pause. With the you only call me when you can hear these keys hanging over the pause. So I think he must be doing those keys during that guitar chord build up.
Yeah.
And then you hear it hang, and Hell just does a couple of drum stomps, doesn't he? Like, why do you only call me when you're high? The bit that Josh Homme fucked up. And then you have
is that piano?
No, the stomp is drums, obviously.
Well, no,
that's not what you mean.
But
No,
like
sure,
the
that's not what you
sound
mean.
you said, Hanks. No, yeah,
I think
I thought that was the
it must
guitar.
have.
Is it both?
Well, I thought so. Yeah, I thought so too. But because I'm listening out for these keys, because it says in that he did track 8 on the keys, I'm like, they must be there. They must be there. It mustn't be, because I can't see them anywhere else.
Track 8 is Fireside.
No, sorry, he does track 8 through to track 7 through to the end are all James Ford keys. It says on the album sleeve. So sorry, track whatever track 6, number 1 Party Anthem, was like through to the end. So that included this, and I was like, where are those keys then? But so I assume it must be this bit and maybe the solo. Like he's just doing. Maybe he's not doing anything much. Maybe he's just holding a couple of notes on an organ, and that bit might be feedback and organ just kind of hanging over there. It's the only bit I could really define them, you know. No, me neither. But because normally it would say like he did track 6, comma 8, whatever, but this just says 6 straight through to the 12. So
okay.
Word. So yeah, I guess it must be here because I can't think anywhere else unless it's in this outro bit and you just can't hear it because it's layered. But there is the Is there solo? Would you call it classes as a solo after that?
Not exactly.
It's one of those weird solo, not solos
it's
in
between,
isn't it?
Yeah, because it's kind of like melodic. It's following the vocal pattern with some flourishes, but
and it sounds like two guitars. It's two guitars doing different bits back and forth to each other, isn't it? It's like the do no no no, and then it kind of no 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 no. It sounds like it shifts, which isn't a solo.
I labeled them call and response guitar melodies.
Very good. That sounds like an album I wouldn't buy. Let's call that, you know. Yes. On response guitar melodies. Album 5. Oh, thank you. I love that. Well, I guess if it is two guitars doing different parts of it back and forth, then that is not the definition of a solo, because a solo is a solo.
It is definitely two guitars. Whether it's one person playing it and they recorded it separate, but it's definitely two guitars back.
It's definitely two guitars back and forth, and obviously we don't know because I don't think when they do it live they don't do that. Oh, actually, maybe when we watch the live one afterwards, we'll see whether they do it back and forth to each other or just one person does it. That'll be interesting. But this bit again sounds very spacey and cosmic to me, which I actually felt, and say I'm reading too much into it, but in the list, we've talked about a lot about the music matching what the song's about, and obviously we had the email correspondence to kind of say that they were enjoying that as well, is that place, you know, when we watch the video then and he's in the bar and he's looking at the mirror and it's all blurry and that, you know, that place that you're at when you're really drunk and you're in the bathroom or something and you kind of like everything's a bit out of this world and everything's not quite, the pictures aren't really I kind of feel like this
the
cosmic sound
is melting.
Yeah, and like just everything just feels all out of sorts a bit and you're kind of there but you're not there, and that I had that just this Friday gone actually, but because I met the owner of a bar that I frequent in, and he was so happy that we loved the bar that he just gave us free drinks all night, and I was a mess, let's say, but it was, but I was in that kind of in between spacey place, is like that's what this music sounds like to me, with this cosmic guitar and this this vibe and this all these different, it's got all the different beats that we've heard throughout the song and all the different elements kind of swirling around, and it just makes me feel like that feeling of it. The music makes me feel like I'm swirling in space, and the album, you know that effect you can put on videos where everything goes like in a swirl, like a blurry swirl. That's what it feels like to be drunk, and that's what this part of the song reminds me of, and I kind of feel like that the world's blurry, and I feel like I perfectly match that feeling of late. It's late. You've had too many to drink, and everything's a bit spacey and a bit weird. Like, and you can't bring the full image into view, but you're trying. And I feel that the solo just hits that amazing sound. Yeah, I love it, and that's kind of the way the song ends, really.
like how it ends on that spaciness too, because it too is like you're just kind of drifting off,
Yeah. And how do you feel about that end with the falsetto going hi?
I like it.
Yeah,
I like the
it's cool, isn't
falsettos
it?
in this one. By the way, we've it keeps coming up back and forth. I
Mhm.
think it's better to mention them in the music portion, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the falsettos here.
It's cool, isn't it? It's a nice addition to it, and it kind of adds this. I think the falsettos add to the hip hop of it all. That kind of ding ding ding. You can just hit. It was made to have a falsetto in the background. This kind of beat, wasn't it? You could just hear it, like
Yeah.
and just sort of also from that. I don't know. It always makes me feel like it fits that idea of you texting someone and being drunk. And just that kind of falsetto kind of adds to it all. This kind of feeling. I don't know. The song just completely has a vibe to it that they nail in every way. Alex's vocal performance, though, very, very good. Very good with what he's doing there. But that I really think is impressive. The bit that Josh Homme fucked up. When you actually do try and do that right. Like, so if I was to do the song on karaoke and he got to that bit, I know I'd fuck it up as well, because it's so hard to go like, I'm going to be up in the morning, going to have a early start. And you said to bone me, baby, why do you want it? Like, that is so hard to do. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a good run, but it's not the run. It's a little bit different run too from we've mentioned it a couple times where he does some, even in this album. I can't remember where, but yeah, because it's not even necessarily so fast. It's almost the rhythm of it. It's just kind of like locking into the rhythm. Yeah, it is. It's really impressive.
Yeah,
Be
it's
up
a very
in the
good
morning,
performance.
gonna have an early night, and you're starting to bother me. Yeah, you
I-
just kind of gotta
actually-
like lock in without rushing or slowing down.
Speaking of karaoke, so the bar that I was in that we met the owner the other night, they had a 4th of July party. It's like an American dive bar style. He's got like 4 around Manchester. This guy, he's a millionaire. But like it's 4th of July, so we went out to celebrate 4th of July in this
Okay.
in this bar, and they had like a barbecue on. You get like a cheeseburger or a hot dog, and so they had like free karaoke on. And my cousin-in-law, I guess you would say, decided that as an ode to me, because he knows I loved them, he was going to do Mardy Bum. And he did Mardy Bum on the karaoke, and everyone in the bar went nuts for it. Everyone was loving it. Everyone was singing along. It was great. Everyone knew the words. People of all ages in there. Everyone was singing. It was great. I think he's bringing people together. There you go. And he nailed it as well. He nailed the performance. He got a. I think I was drunk, and I said to him, as maybe one of the biggest Arctic Monkeys fans in the world, I can safely say that you nailed that. And I was like, that's a seal of approval from me. But I think that pretty much hits all the musical points. That I actually thought we'd talk way longer on it, but it is like quite concise to get through, because it doesn't. It's just this building this beat and building this beat. Yeah. It's quite easy to like. It'd be quite easy to. It'll be the only part of this episode that'll be easy for me to edit in the clips, probably. But shall we get to the part of the show where we talk about the covers that we selected for this one then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna form a covers band and all.
So, Justin, what did you select for this week's track?
I had to remind myself, and actually, we kind of already mentioned for. Well, I guess this was in the pre-show review,
yeah.
but yeah. But I picked Damon. How do you say his last name? Albarn.
Albarn, yeah.
Albarn.
Yeah, Damon Albarn.
From Blur or Gorillaz, mostly because I was thinking of some of like the more hip hop style-esque like Gorillaz songs that he does with his little kind of Gorillaz voice, and I thought actually that would fit pretty well.
I could see it with the whole Gorillaz thing, and I think when I did the covers episode, I believe I might have done Damon Albarn doing "Love Is a Laser Quest" or something like that in that episode, and it worked very well. Him doing that kind of performance. But for subscribers only, of course. Let's have a listen to Damon Albarn doing "Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High." But, so I don't know if this was because of what we've been listening to this week and I just couldn't get it out of my head, but I wanted to hear this song by Snoop Doggy Dogg. Snoop Dogg doing "Why'd You Call Me High," just to hear what it would kind of sound like if someone like that did it. I can't remember how it came out when I did it, but like, because obviously you got the whole British accent, American thing, so let's see how it is. But this is Snoop Dogg doing "Why'd You Call Me When You're High." Yeah, some good covers there. And next week's song will bring some interesting covers too, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, or will the falsettos in that song, which are quite prominent, fuck with it too much? Because it really
probably a lot. The falsettos really messes it up. Yeah.
But let's move into the lyrics part of the show. So, not a lot to dig into the lyrics. I guess with the title, my only weird thing, Niggle, is I feel like, and I think maybe he gave us a clue there. So, in the interview when he said it feels like, he based it on a voicemail that he got. So he may have tried to hook up with someone at 3 a.m. He got a voicemail from a girl saying, "Why'd you only message me?" I imagine he said, "Why'd you only message me when you're drunk or something?"
Sure.
And I always felt like that's what this song is saying, because high isn't that. When you're stoned high, which is what high is used for, you're not messaging girls or messaging people, right? But when you're drunk, you are, or on any other substance. It's not all the substance. Cocaine, let's just say it. That's the only other one where you might do it. But like, why'd you only call me when you're high? I feel like he changed it because that fit the song better, and that's a better title than "Why'd you only call me when you're drunk" or "Why'd you only call me when you're fucked." High sounds better, but when you think about it,
from a vocal standpoint as well.
Yeah, and high, and from a vocal standpoint, it just looks better as a title. It looks better as a lyric.
Sure,
it's catchier probably, but obviously the essence is the same. Some people might refer to being drunk as high. I personally don't. I've never heard anyone do that. High is stoned, not like any kind of thing. But I suppose you could say on a high. But yeah, I think he changed. It doesn't quite make sense, and it always niggled me a little bit. But I see why they made the change, because it does sound better. It is a better lyric. I don't want it to be "Why'd you only call me when you're drunk?" That would be an awful title, obviously.
That sounds like a bad country song.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, it's so I don't mind it, but it did always niggle me a bit that it doesn't quite make sense if I'm being very nitpicky. But other than that, it's fine. It's a better title. But the song, obviously, we know what it's about. We've said it loads of times. It's about hooking up. We did tell some stories, didn't we, in the video part where we were saying about times that we've both messaged someone very late, and the times that it has worked, and hooking up with someone at that time, and it is a very relatable song in that aspect. And you do kind of really understand where he's coming from with it. And I imagine, even to the point of view where it's quite like, again, on the misogyny thing, the men come out bad in this song, and I think we come back because I can relate to it, but when I relate to it, I don't think of myself as a good guy, because for all the times it worked, I always think now, from my perspective now, imagine being a girl and you've met this guy on a dating app, and maybe you've messaged a few times, and you've not messaged had a date or anything, and then you wake up in the morning at 9 in the morning, and you got several messages from him at 3 a.m. asking are you up? Which the message is always are you up? Are you awake? That's the message, right? And they know what that means. And it's just that I've had it before where I've been speaking to someone, I've done that when I'm drunk, and then we don't speak again. They don't want to speak to me again, because it's obvious that I was just trying to get a hook up. So I understand girls, it is sort of unsolicited mail, isn't it? It's sort of 3 a.m. booty call that no one wants, unless they want it. And that's why when the times it works because they do want it. But I would say...
Well, now I would say too, to go off of your point there. Okay, so you are kind of taking that chance to be it's almost understandable if this person doesn't message me anymore, which is almost kind of worse, because then you're well, it's okay to take that shot, knowing that it might end it there, you might sever any kind of ties with that risk,
Yeah, you don't really... It just shows a lack of giving a shit, and they'll pick up on that if they're not interested, right? You didn't care if you blew it, because really you were just horny and you wanted sex. That's basically it. Yeah, I mean it's up there with dick pics as the worst things that guys do on dating apps and stuff, right? It's up at the top. I mean, not as bad as the dick pic, obviously, but yeah, it's one of those. But I've definitely done it, and I said, and we said in the section, both told stories, but I had the story I told was basically I had this night, in this video, basically very similar but different settings. But so I relate to this song so much for that one particular night. Except Alex isn't successful in the video, but I was. So what does that say? I mean, obviously, I feel how many times do you think Alex has done this and been unsuccessful? I feel like that hardly ever happens. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like the joke in the video is maybe they're not a huge band because he's just got Alex Band Guy in the phone. And I don't think that's how you describe Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys, as Alex Band Guy. So I don't think he had a lack of success in that regard. I think the character of the song does. But yeah, it's very relatable. If there's a guy listens to this that can't relate to this, then you must have been in a relationship since like from a young age or something, like one relationship, because I'm calling bullshit on any guy that's been single for any period of time and can't relate to this.
It would be, if you've never sent that text of "Are you up?" then I mean, what's going on?
You deserve snap him up, ladies, because he's a good egg. Because I don't know what. But yeah, I don't know. But it's a good, just want to have fun. What's wrong with that? But but yeah, like we said, I don't think the song's misogynistic in any way because the character isn't coming out of it well, and we're even talking about like. Are we not coming out of it that well in those situations as well? Sometimes, if you don't get a response and being willing to blow a potential relationship just for a hookup. So yeah, the men don't come out of it well. So I think it's pro on the woman's side, this song in this situation. But then again, not to be sexist, there will be women, I'm sure. The rare booty call text from a woman at 3 a.m. that does happen. It can happen. So. It is rare. It is like David Attenborough in the wild spotting for something, but it can happen. It can happen. But I mean, and then gay guys take it to the like. I always say this to my girlfriend that the reason why gay guys like Grindr's just like pure hookup, right, is because you take the woman out of the equation and there's no decency left. It's just two men wanting to fuck, and like so no one's going to say no. If you message a guy at 3 a.m. for sex, he's not going to say no if he's single. Like it's never going to happen. We're just depraved animals that just constantly need. Sexual gratification, I'm afraid, and that's who we are. Sorry, ladies. Sorry, we're seeing that so much. But let's go through it lyric by lyric because there isn't a lot. It isn't a deep song, is it? There's not going to be a lot. There's barely even any like really clever lines. It's just pure relatable. It's like
straightforward.
First album, right? It's first album fair. Completely relatable.
But you know what? It's almost one of well, I mean, it's kind of like this in the first one with especially like red light indicates doors are secure or something like that, where it's a storytelling. It is storytelling.
It is storytelling, yeah.
Because some of them are not like that. Some of them are, ideas about things or whatever. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of like a red light indicates doors are secure or, like you're capturing a moment.
I would say it falls into the storytelling of some of the first album, the second album. And in a way, with some of it, it's also got the advanced storytellingness of something like Crying Lightning, because Crying Lightning is telling a story about this girl, right? And the first line of this song reminds me of this first line of the second verse of Crying Lightning, because he says, "The mirror's image tells me it's home time," which is actually a great line, with the idea of, again, where he personifies something, that isn't a real thing. Like, so the mirror is, rather than saying, "I looked in the mirror and saw that I was too drunk and it's time to leave," he's saying, "The mirror's image told me it's home time," which is a really good way of putting it, because we've all been in that situation again of looking in the mirror and being like, "Oh fuck, I am fucked. I'm drunk. I need to go," But there's that line in Crying Lightning where he says, "The first time I caught my own reflection, it was on its way to meet you," which is obviously more of a complex line than this, but very similar. The idea of seeing yourself from a third person point of view and being told to do something, like he kind of, which in linear fashion is, we look at the mirror and we realize we're too drunk, or we look at our reflection and we're going to see the girl. He takes it and he breaks it apart and he puts it in a third person sort of narrative and puts it in a different way. And I really like it. Just a simple line just to do that. You know what I mean? What could just be put simply, he puts it in an impressive way. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have this tendency though, when I'm really drunk, to look at especially like if there's a mirror, to like talk to myself as
me too,
like, because it's on, you're out of your mind, you need that visual image to be like, you need to go home.
I say I start doing that after like 3 whiskeys. That's how easily I'm turned. And if I'm having a bit of a buzz on, like if I had 4 double like bourbons or something, and I go to the toilet and there's a mirror on the back, like a butt, like if I go in the cubicle and there's a mirror there behind the toilet, I'm literally like one hand pissing, the other hand like, "You're fucking great. you're having a great time. You're gonna have a great time tonight. Like talking to myself, I really buzz on. That just carries on through the night until I'm literally just like sort of maybe it's time to go. Maybe I should go like that. Progressive. So yeah, he does nail that. And he did it in the video right perfectly as well, with the whole him looking in the mirror and everything being a bit thingy. So yes, I imagine we all do that. Look in the mirror and talk. I wonder if women do it. I wonder if it's just like a guy thing. I wonder if women talk to themselves in reflections. I've never heard a woman talk about it. Only guys.
I don't know.
Just feel like a very man thing to do, doesn't it? To talk to ourselves in a mirror, like.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I
We're
don't
not
know.
ego beasts.
Chime in,
ladies.
know.
Tell us if you've done it. Chime in.
Yeah.
If you're a lady that likes to get drunk sometimes, let us know. Do you talk to yourself in the mirror?
We'll find out next month when the episode.
Yeah, we'll be able to talk about that while we're recording some of the B-sides, probably. Then the next, I'll do this bit as a chunk because I think it's like, but I'm not finished because you're not by my side. Very smooth. And as I arrived, I thought I saw you leaving, carrying your shoes, decided that once again I was just dreaming of bumping into you. And I guess that's what the video picks up on, that passage, right? In that video where he's imagining her with different guys. That idea of he doesn't feel like the night
that you see keeps reminding you of her.
And also that idea that he knows it's home time, but he's not done with the night yet because he hasn't got her yet. He's not got the hookup yet. And I can, I used to do it all the time when I was younger. I'd go out and if I didn't pull in the club, I'd refuse to go home. I'd let's go to another club. Let's go to another club. There's always desperation. The night's not over until I pulled someone. And it's ridiculously pathetic, but that's who I was. But some would say I was a sex addict. No, I'm joking. But
I think everyone would say that.
Everyone would say I was a sex addict. Yeah, I'm reformed now though. Yeah. In ways. So and he said carrying your shoes, which is a nice one as well, like idea of, because that's like women do that when they're at the end of the night, right? They're like sick of wearing heels, so they take them off and they've been dancing or whatever, so they carry them. Decided that once again I was just dreaming of bumping into you, which is nice that it's like in his head. He realizes it, and decided is an interesting word. Like he decided that once again he was dreaming. It wasn't a real. Is that almost like
the commitment? Like,
well, because what I would imagine you'd say is, I realized that once again I was just dreaming of bumping into you, and it wasn't real. But the word "decided" almost makes it like something he had to choose to realize it wasn't real, which makes me think: is he coming at it from the point of view of a drunk person, where realizing something isn't real isn't as easy as when you're sober? So he had to decide that it wasn't real.
Which is almost tell yourself. You're not even making logical connections easily anymore.
No, you have to
tell yourself. Decisions.
Which if that is what he means, is a really like cool writing.
That's
to
clever,
just put that one word in there to change the whole sort of dynamic of it. It is really good. I really like that. But I do think that's what it means. Yeah, decided. I like that you have to decide something when you drink. You don't just have a natural thought. You have to choose to make that distinction. And then we kind of go straight into the chorus, don't we? Which is the main lick. Which now it's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to change your mind. Left you multiple missed calls, and to my message you. I like that change up of the way you would say that and to my message you reply. That's not the way you would normally say it. I like the way they do that to make it work. It feels like it fits hip hop as well. Why do you only call me when you're high? Hi, why do you only call me when you're high? So that's kind of the voicemail, like the message, isn't it? Why do you only call me when you're high? I like the double use of high in 2 ways as well at the beginning and the end of that. Like, hi, why do you only call me when you're high? It's nice. Would you call that? Would you call that onomatopoeia? Or would you call that?
Yeah, I guess
kind of.
So.
Guess kind of. No, is that onomatopoeia? Have I got that right? Is that the right one? Oh no! Where the beginning is the I don't know, palindrome, maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea. Actually, now I would have. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, it's because I think onomatopoeia is when it's onomatopoeia when a word sounds like what it is. But a palindrome is a sequence that reads the same backwards or forwards. So not quite a palindrome, but you know what we mean. It bookends it with the same sort of high and stuff like that. But yeah, we've all been in that passage, right? I mean, he's just straight up storytelling there. It's 3 a.m. and you're trying to change your mind because she's not interested. You've left her multiple missed calls, and to the message she replies, "Why do you only call me when you're high? Hi, why do you only call me when you're high?" Straight up saying what it is. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Although I've never been. Have you ever actually had a message back from a girl saying, "Why do you only message me when you're drunk?"
No, I don't think so.
I have once, because there was a girl. It's gonna make me sound so bad. There was literally a girl that I worked with, which is never a good idea. Let me tell you that. And it wasn't long before I got with my girlfriend, and we'd sort of hook up, and then she quite liked me, and I knew that, which made it worse. I knew that she caught feelings because we knew each other in work. And I guess drunk me used that. I say drunk me to try and make myself sound better as a separate person, but I guess I used that to initiate the hookup easily. So I would message her if I knew she was out and I'd been out as a Friday or something, and it was like 3 a.m. I'd say, I'll come to mine or whatever. Because the problem with this is I lived in the center of Manchester, so everyone would be out. So if I wanted to get someone to mine, it was easier because they're only like at any point 10 minutes away from my apartment. So living in the city centre makes it even worse for the hookups and easier because everything's so centralised. It was a blessing and a curse, let's say. But it was so yeah, I used to message this poor girl, and then the next day she'd be like, oh my god, finally he likes me or whatever, and then I'd kind of be cold and mean. Oh no. And the worst thing was I sort of told her I didn't want to be in a relationship with, which was true because the thing is we didn't have anything in common, it wasn't like ever going to turn into anything. And then after that, about 2 months later, I met my girlfriend that I'm still with now and got in a very serious relationship. And a lot of problems were caused on my job front because of that. Don't hook up with people that you work with for that very reason, because you have to see them every day. After that, you can't escape them. So yeah, bad me, naughty me. But yeah, I feel like this lyric kind of does that. But I was messaged from her once saying, why do you only message me when you're drunk, when you fucked up or whatever? So I've been that guy, yeah, certainly. I lived it. Self-fulfilling prophecy, because this song came out years before that. So there you go. So there you go. That's me just talking about what a scumbag I was. For those of you who did the maths, that was only 6 years ago, so I can't really dispute it. But yeah, somewhere darker, talking the same shite. Now this, for me, harks back to the first album, From the Ritz to the Rubble. That whole last night what we talked about made so much sense, man, doesn't it?
Much sense, yeah.
Like somewhere dark, it's like that idea of, I love that idea of being in another bar but talking the same shite again, just doing that. Yeah. It's actually a precursor to a lyric on Tranquility as well, where he says, I'm sick of standing around in bars talking shite and about karaoke to anyone, about karate to anyone, or something like that. He has a very similar line. I'm sick around of being stood around in bars. He says talking
somewhere
something.
Darker is good too, because it's like as the night goes on, there's less and less people. It gets a little more dingier, and
you're trying to
places that are still open.
The places that are still open are yeah. It's very good, but the conversations do get you are talking about the same shite usually most of the time, all that. So it's a great way of putting it. And then I'll do this passage as one as well. I need a partner. Hey, I love that. Hey, I need a partner. I love the way they use that hey next to partner as if it's like the kind of response or something like, I need a partner. Hey. Well, are you out tonight? It's harder and harder to get you to listen. More I get through the gears, incapable of making all right decisions and having bad ideas. Again, we've all been there, right? We need a partner. Message them, are you out tonight? Yeah. Harder and harder to get you to listen. More I get through the gears, which I guess means it's more harder to get them to. Does it mean it's more harder to get them to take you seriously again because you've done it so many times before, or does it mean it's harder to get you to listen the more drunker you get and you're going through the gears?
Yeah, or also to the later it gets too in the night, and they're probably either sleeping or not drinking more.
I think it was like through the gears of a car, so you get more drunk, you go into third gear, and then you're drunk, you go into second gear. Or it could also just be the gears of pestering, like you start at a kind of, hey, you out? And then when you don't get a response or you're getting turned down, the more drunker you get, the higher up the gears, the responses become more like sort of repeated calls and are you out? And it can get more sort of aggressive in that way. So we could be referring to that as well. And incapable of making all right decisions and having bad ideas is pretty much, again, like the sort of, this is kind of like View from the Afternoon territory as well, right? With the whole chapter and verse in your inbox and being too drunk to make those decisions and stuff like that. This is our very first album, but first album is about going out and meeting a girl or seeing a fit girl in a club and being like, wow, this is about having actual like age 25, got women in your phone that you've hooked up with and messaging when you do. It's a very different progression, like to
it's funny because it feels older because those earlier songs are such such faster pace anyways, you know, like the rapid feeling of the night, especially you reference View from the Afternoon. It feels like you're like, you know, your attention is everywhere. There's all these things going on, but whereas this is really just kind of like a slower, steadier progression kind of through the night. So yeah, it feels more mature, and I mean mature out when I mean like how an older night feels.
Well, that's it. The ideas are the same. We're all, and I think we all do it. Like it's that lyric I always quote, that his own lyric from Bigger Boys and Stolen Sweethearts, where he says the girls are older now or something like that, and he says, but I'm sure they still carry it on in familiar ways, and that always stayed with me from a teenager to now, to see that we all basically do the same shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you get a job in an office and there's different cliques that you get, and it's all very school-like. You know what I mean? It's like we basically, with relationships and dating, we're just doing the same thing, but just with an older head. So we're still just trying to message girls to hook up. We're just doing it in a different way than we did when we were 18 and we were going out, and do you know what I mean? But also that technology changed it. So this song was at a point when technology really changed how people date, right? That we're kind of used to now. But 2013, dating apps and Tinder and stuff had just started taking off. Texting people for hookups, that was all quite different than it would have been 10 years before that, you know what I mean? So, or even when the first album came out. So yeah,
well, when the first album came out, I mean, you are talking about getting text and emails on your phone and stuff, but it was different. It had developed in that time. So in the 6 years from the first album to when this song would have been written, there was those rules were being established, right?
And even just being able to see that they had seen it and stuff like that would be different, you know what I mean? Yeah. So which kind of then agitates you more if you want a response. So yeah, very interesting. The same stuff, we're just doing the same stuff. So this is probably lyrically the most like the first album that they've done since the first album, I would say, actually.
Yeah.
But and then he says, and I can't see you here, wonder where I might be. Is it I be, or is it I can't see you here, wonder...
I have where I might.
I can't see you, wonder where I might. Sorry, yeah. I don't know why I've added a B to that. I can't see you here, wonder where I might, as if he's wondering where she is going to be because she's not in this bar. Which is a bit Cornerstone, I felt. The idea of him going to bars, trying to find her or see her, a bit Cornerstone again. Yeah. But this is not as, obviously, Cornerstone is like after the relationship's ended and chasing them, and this is pure sexual, obviously, in that sense. And then I guess I'll do the last passage, which I don't really have much to say on, but it's straightforward again. It sort of feels like I'm running out of time. I haven't found what I was hoping to find, which happens quite a lot as well. You said you got to be up in the morning. There's one of those things I can't say without. You said you got to be up in the morning, gonna have an early night, and you're starting to bore me, baby. Why'd you only call me when you're high?
Oof, the rejection.
Yeah, that's brutal. The rejection, that's brutal. And you're starting to bore me, baby. The baby makes the rejection worse. Yeah. I wonder if that's like straight up similar to the message he got. Sounds specific, doesn't it? I love that baby, because the baby kind of like is almost like, you know what? If you were more interesting, I might have fucked up with you, but this is getting boring to me, baby. It's always like makes it worse.
Almost like talking down a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice in that regard. It's a nice sort of thing. But yeah. That's it. I don't have a lot to say. It's a straightforward story, right? About hooking up.
It's pretty. Wanted to hook up and like straightforward songs he's written over the past. I mean, even most of Balaclava is kind of like a metaphor, and since the first album, this might be his most straightforward kind of song. Honestly,
I think it probably is, because there haven't been many, and like even the ones on this album so far that we've done weren't. There was ambiguity and stuff, but this is literally just a story of an evening in town. That which the first album was. So.
Straightforward.
Maybe even more straightforward than some of the ones on the first album. Like, it's just straight up storytelling. So, pretty cool. But would you like to hear what they have to say?
Of course.
On this.
Always.
Yeah.
Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
Arctic Monkeys with Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, the most recent single from the new album AM, which is out this week. We're playing you the whole thing with Alex and Matt from the band, talking us through it track by track. My name is John Kennedy, and that was the kind of latest single. Backed with another really great title, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off With You, which I thought, I couldn't believe nobody had done that before.
No, me neither, John.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe me.
Did you do some
Thank
fact
me lucky
checking?
stars that day.
Did you check it as well?
Did I Google it to check it? Yeah.
It's often a dangerous game because I hear that people look for what people search and then take it. Like if you search for a website that you want, like if you want like...
I remember being sort of a bit disappointed when I found out Psychedelia Smith was a band from Northampton or something.
Yeah. Not disappointed that they're from Northampton.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why do you only call me when you're high?
Sorry. Keep interrupting. You're very rude.
You know how this works.
I just remember thinking that had been a rail light that day, but no, somebody's already been there.
So why do you only call me when you're high? This is a common occurrence in your lives? A request you get?
I mean, I think we've all been on both ends of that bubble, haven't we? I don't know what you're using.
Yeah, what device you use.
But I mean, it's a bubble for me.
Facts.
So
we've all been on the end of that. Facts.
So a lot of questions, a lot of question marks on this record, aren't there?
Isn't there?
Are you mine? Do I want to know? Why do you only call me when you're high? You know, this kind of thing. And, well, you know, when I said that I asked people to come up with questions to ask you, because obviously...
Was that one of them?
Well, one of them was... Well, it probably was. But one of those, they wanted to know, they've got a bet going on, and they think that the same character is kind of involved in those particular songs. So, are you mine? Do I want to know?
Oh, the question.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Is the same person inspired these particular songs?
And does he ever get his answer?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
So all the question songs are one character.
Yeah.
So the question is,
how do you win that bet?
I don't know.
We settle it.
I don't know what the
what
this
odds
was
do you
Anna.
get on that?
Anna texted in.
Anna, maybe we can get in on this.
Ladbrokes.
She could. Like, no.
What a Ladbrokes
I don't know
giving you on that one.
Which is the right way? Maybe somebody says they're not all written about the same person, and maybe Anna says they are. What do Arctic Monkeys say?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Anna. Let's put that one to bed.
Okay, so that's.
I don't know. Yeah, does it matter?
I don't think it necessarily.
I don't think it does.
Only for the bet.
You were just glad to get a question that wasn't. Will you marry me?
Yeah, exactly. I thought, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the bet.
You know what you can bet on though? The length of Harry Redknapp's car window.
And it happened, didn't it?
Yeah, and then it did
How long
happen
were
this night. It was like at least over 2 minutes. On one of them, like we won't mention what, but like Nick got this thing the other day where you can put funny bets on things. One of which was the length of Harry Redknapp's car
I'm going to
window.
get into that, I think. That's the kind of thing I'll gamble on.
Sour Fast Street.
But please gamble aware, guys.
But yeah, no, I saw it on telly last night.
So responsible.
I saw his interview and it was like, oh yeah. He's like putting the seatbelt on and that. So it's like there.
Does he even wind it down? Or does he just
He winds
shout?
it down, yeah. He did a good like 2.5 minutes.
What car's he in?
Oh, I didn't see that. It weren't a 4x4.
Good.
Lower.
Bend down with microphone. Anyway.
There's a nice bass groove on Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, which I particularly like.
Yeah.
Is that all Nick's work?
What happened with that
crafted?
one? You know, there was a version of this.
Oh,
this
we changed it.
Yeah, there was a version of Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High that maybe we'll release one day, but it was more like, I suppose, an Arabella or an Are You Mine thing to start with, which then we decided to go down this other road with later on. And I suppose there's a nod to like Dr. Dre in there, like it's like you know, it's not got any rapping on it. Don't worry, folks, if you haven't heard it yet. But you know, there's definitely, I suppose I guess it's like we admire the way like Dre beats or other things in that world that we mentioned are put together. You know, it's sort of like the architecture, if you like, of that music is something we wanted to borrow from for our for this record.
Yeah.
Whilst the foundation is still like rock and roll, but yeah, so hopefully it gets the heads nodding and the sort of hips moving.
Heads nodding, neck snapping. And I mean, I think that's why I was asking whether it was a Californian album, because if you were thinking in terms of Dre beats, and,
I think you can, sorry. I think there is a link between sort of West Coast hip hop and some other kind of, I don't know, more like Laurel Canyon-y music or something, where it kind of lays back a little bit. There's definitely a correlation there. So maybe we can put this in that bracket somehow. Like, does it lay back a bit? I don't know. The timing of the vocals was quite lazy. Maybe that's something to do with the palm trees. I don't know. But we'll see. I feel like I've always been pretty slow, though, with that kind of timing. I'm always behind the beat. Me.
Tricky business when you've got so many words, though.
Just spitting them out.
Yeah.
Still, but
spitting them
sometimes.
out. It's just like... I mean, Sinatra always does that as well, wasn't he? Like, it was like really super late on the, especially like on like live versions of things. It's kinda, I don't know. There's something I think there's something a bit badass about that. Like, it's better to be there than ahead, isn't it?
Could you see yourself as a future Sinatra? Could you see yourself moving out in front of the band as more of a crooner, dropping the guitar? Would you ever do that?
Well, I do that on a couple of tunes live.
Like, I thought you were talking to me then, John.
Well, Matt should have his moment.
A guitar, what?
Somebody who can reach those high notes. He needs a spotlight and his own microphone on the stage.
We have talked about a Matt Elder solo album quite a lot recently.
We should probably start talking about it now.
One of them in the pipeline. May as well do a bit of promo for that.
Yeah,
while we
because I haven't even chose like my press agents or anything yet, so I'm just going to use this time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely one of them in the pipeline, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. But you do like to put the guitar down, don't you?
I do like
original.
to put it down, yeah. It's nice to have just get the arms out.
And walk around a bit.
So having had a taste of it, you're kind of ready and willing to go further.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we have got like a fifth member again now on the road with us, our Tom Rowley. Tom, the Father, the Son, and the Rolly Ghost. He was doing like the keys and everything else, and sort of checking my emails as well, like over in the corner while he's at it.
Updating.
Sort of doing everything,
website.
just so I can swan about and not play guitar. Basically, it's that conceited.
Arctic Monkeys with "Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High," the most recent single from the new.
Too much to discuss over a bucket of balls.
So you're interested there that you talked about the crooning.
Yeah, pretty much set the stage for what he's doing now. Yeah,
and as well the like that the what was it, the Father, the Son, and the Rowley Ghost.
That's pretty good.
Ghost was great. It was pretty good.
But also, you know what? The way he sings now, the way he was talking about Sinatra singing behind it all, a lot of people had a problem with the way he was performing like the songs, and it's interesting to hear his perception on that way before
he's doing
that
it on
even
hair.
started to happen. Yeah.
No, I was really interested in, it's funny because there's so many references in that you won't get, like Harry Redknapp and Delia Smith. Delia Smith's like a cooking person here, like a chef, like a famous like TV cook, like you have yours there, like Crockett. What's the Crockett? The Americans have years ago. Crockett,
the lady who went to jail. What was her name?
Oh yeah,
she was friends with Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
You know who I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's great. Snoop Dogg again popping up all over the place in this episode. Yeah. But when it's so funny. Martha Stewart. I hear there's a funny roast with Martha Stewart on, actually. I think it might be like Snoop Dogg's roast or something like that. It's funny. But there's like a comedy roast, not a sexual one, for anyone that was confused there. But I just hear so much of that because obviously we live quite close now. When they go down those little tangents and they just kind of get lost in it and they sort of forget where they are and then they just sort of stop talking and go quiet. I feel like I do that so much on this podcast sometimes. I just feel like that relatability to them. But no, really interesting stuff with the song there. And, you know, we mentioned Arabella there, and it made me think, was the bits where the verses were like the verses of this, but then it went rockier in the chorus with the do no 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 no. Did they go like do no 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 no? That would be really interesting, but and then keep the verses like this. That would be weird. So I'd love to hear that version of it. I really would.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool that I guess Matt said it, or when you were recording earlier, that it was like fun to listen to. So
yeah,
it must be like a pretty good quality version of it.
I know, it's a shame, really. Shame we'll probably never hear it.
You know what's interesting though? At that point, like when he talks, Alex mentioned it. It sounded like he would be open to. It's like, maybe we'll release it one day. It's like, just release the song.
Just release it.
Yeah. Just release them.
Just release them. Maybe again, anniversaries. We'll get on the anniversaries. We didn't get on the 10-year anniversary of AM though, did we? So we'll get it then. But yeah, no, really interesting stuff there from the guys. A few more tracks to go on that John Kennedy, obviously. And we do have a little wrap-up bit for the John Kennedy as well. But let's get into. Oh, actually, listening to the shipping forecast. We should say week of recording. So not when you listen to this, but week of recording. It is Mr. Nick O'Malley turned 40 and Mr. Jamie Cook turned 40. So they're the first members of the band to become the Big 4-0, which actually made me realise that they must have been in the school year above Matt and Alex. Because it's only like July now, so they would have been the year above, which I never realised. I thought they were in the same like year at school, but they must have been a year older, which is interesting. So,
maybe that's how they knew Nick more. Because I know they knew
Jamie.
him, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think probably. Although they might have got to different schools, they might have just known him from the band scene at the time because he was in a band, wasn't he? And they sort of thought he was a pretty good bass player. But yeah, I mean, the luckiest knowing of somebody ever, right, to get that call. So. Pretty cool. And also, I noticed Mr. Helders is on holiday at the moment in what looked like an amazing villa. I don't know where he is, but
he's been posting, like a ton of pictures. His wife in bathing suits a lot, which is weird. But yeah,
you said that in a way like you'd really studied those pictures, Justin. You said that I
didn't
even see those pictures.
Like oh, really? Oh, okay.
No, I respect the female form despite the horrible story that I told earlier about the way that I treated women.
Sounds like you appreciate it too much, Dan.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a story. But yeah, no, you're right. He did post a lot of that, and I mean, he's a millionaire, right? So I don't know why I'm surprised that the villa he's at looks amazing, but yeah, very cool. So, but still no news on the album. Talk about Matt Helder's solo album there in the John Kennedy, but he's putting these clips out, but he's still not announced anything. So there we go. I got really excited the other day because I saw
about 2 months now since he's been doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it was when we first started recording that he started putting them out and stuff. So not weird that he's not said out. The longer time goes on, the more it makes me think they are announcing a Monkeys album because it's like, why wouldn't he have announced the solo album yet? But he's putting the clips out. Why would he be waiting all this time? I know it's not going to be, but I live in hope. The hip hop Monkeys album, who knows? Maybe they'll put the solo album out under the Arctic Monkeys banner. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Maybe.
So what would be cool is if he has got a solo album, if Alex does one of the vocal performances on his solo album.
That would be cool.
That,
I was
how 2001
that, literally just happened, yeah.
Because it could have been like the 2001 where they just have different artists on it because he doesn't sing, does he? So
yeah,
that could be cool.
Well, he did that before with his mixtape too, where Alex did the short story.
Late Night Tales, yeah. And also, I mean, to be fair though, his girlfriend is a musical artist as well. His wife, Helder's wife, is a musical artist as well, and I think a lot of her stuff is hip hop. So he may have just produced her album. Who knows?
Maybe. I guess that's true.
I guess we will find out when we find out. I guess we can't really say anything, but shall we say our favorite lyrics in this one?
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
Now it's 3 a.m, and I'm trying to change your mind. Left you multiple missed calls, and to my message you reply, why do you only call me when you're high? I like it. It's straightforward. It's relatable. It's cool. It's slick. I like all of it.
Yeah, I went with the big run, and also too because there was some like little cleverness in there of the you gotta be up in the morning, gotta have an early night, and you're starting to bore me, baby. Why'd you only call me when you're high? It's just an impressive, written aspect, you know.
Yeah, it really is, and vocal performance. And now musical moment.
Mad sounds in your ear that make you get up and down.
So I'm gonna, you know what? Going into this, I assumed I was gonna give it to the bass, but I think I'm actually gonna give it to the guitar because I think it's the unsung hero of this song with those like chorus guitar and what he's kind of doing with even the palm muting. Like I think it's really good.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give it to the guitar as well. I feel like we've given it to the guitar a lot this
Jamie's caught back
album.
up in the second portion, hasn't he?
Yeah, but specifically the call and response guitar solo, or I mean the guitar outro thing or whatever, it's really cool actually.
Yeah. You mean call and response, melodic guitar?
Yeah, melodic.
the double CD left in the bargain bin every shot.
It just keeps getting cheaper somehow.
It just keeps getting cheaper. No one's buying it. Volume 5 now. So occasionally someone will get it for the dad as a gift just because he might like it.
Yeah. Dad,
so yeah,
I thought about this. I thought about
I thought you might like this. But I tell you what, I do have a question for you.
She flicks a red hot revelation off the tip of her toe.
Different version of that clip because the version I had went astray and I had this other version, so yeah, that is a different live performance of it. A little change up for people there at this point. Do you think that this is the most produced track on the album, like the one that they've produced, they've worked on, like produced it?
That we've covered so far, or
that we've
just
that we've covered,
even thinking ahead?
Even thinking ahead. Let's have even thinking ahead. Why not?
I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind, but it's hard because we haven't covered it yet, might be the last track, I Want to Be Yours. Like, just, I don't know what's going on in that, and it feels more electronic, computer-based, but I'm not sure. And also Snap Out of It feels like it's got a lot going on just instrumentation-wise, but I don't know how much about that is programmed in.
I guess it's like, is this the one where they were like making the guitar sound different pedals like hip hop and layer it and make a weird sound that doesn't quite sound. But then again, they were doing that a lot in the early one, so it's hard to say. But it just feels like this was like a and it might be because I just
One for the Road, I think, is the most competitive that I can think of because we kept talking about similar. There was a very similar musical discussion where there was a lot of building and layers and like little guitar things going on in the back. So maybe One for the Road, but it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. But we'll see. I guess
I will
one
pose a question for you.
Oh, go on.
Also, and I think it came up before, anyways. But do you think this is a good placement for this song on the
album? Actually, you know what? When we first started this, I was like, Mad Sounds. Does it fit when you listen to the album? Does it feel weird that Fireside stops and then it goes down, 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 down? That was going to be jarring. And then if you remember, a few weeks ago, I listened to the album on vinyl a few times before I went out, and I said it changed my perception. I think it was number one party anthem actually that I said that at the start. And I actually, that time, I kind of got it more. It felt more natural for some reason. When I listened to the album a few times in a row on the vinyl, it just hit me in a way where it's like, because of what came before number one party anthem and that run, it didn't feel jarring to me. It just felt like, oh, it's Why Do You Want to Come When You're High. And I feel like if it had been placed earlier after, say, One for the Red Hot Bone, that I might have been a bit sick of the beats. I like the break. I like the breakwater in between. And I know you're not always a fan of the breakwaters, but I usually am a fan of the breakwaters. Like, I want that cushion. I don't want all the hip hop songs in a row and then we get the guitar part of the album. I like it. I don't want it to be like, oh, this half is hip hop and this half is Fireside, the one party album. Sure. I like that breakup. So I actually quite liked that sudden burst of energy again, or not energy. Energy's not the right word. Burst of a vibe again.
Now, what I would say is I don't necessarily mind a break, but I think the problem I have been playing with putting this song earlier but like not back to back with like One for the Road, because I think that's too similar. But I've been playing with it earlier, and I do like it more because I don't mind a break. I prefer a break when something that comes after it is different, because it feels like you're moving in a direction. Whereas this feels like I'm like, oh, well, it's kind of like One for the Road, which came 5 tracks ago. So it's almost, you know, when you go from I have no problem with going from like Fluorescent Adolescence to a much slower song of you know, and Only Ones Who Know, and then into a song that is much moodier and darker and like kind of leads into a more direction for the album. It's like, kind of like a switch from, you know, A side, B side type of thing, you know, like it feels like it's got some direction or purpose. So going back to a style that we explored a lot in the first half feels a little weird, I think.
Although what I will say is, for me, the placement fits the song. So I would find it weird for a song to be early on in the album about hooking someone up, trying to hook up at the end of the night when you're a bit too drunk. I like that it's towards the end of the album thematically, in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I just like that kind of idea. But it is one that go earlier. But I do think I'd be a bit put off by it after Arabella or something like that, I think, or after I Want It All. I do like that kind of nice transition into the guitar more and then back to the kind of beats. And yeah, I don't know, I guess it's weird because the whole next run is like different vibes each track, right?
Yeah,
we're now at a point where each song has a different vibe, so it's hard to kind of say. I think pick that back up on the wrap up, I guess, because I'm going to listen to the album as a whole a lot in between the last B-side and the wrap up when I'm on holiday. I'm going to listen to it all the time. I'm going to annoy my girlfriend by playing AM constantly on that holiday. And yeah, so I'll maybe have different thoughts, but yeah, it's weird because we're entering a different vibe to the album now. We're entering a different, because there's a song that's coming up that has a vibe that could have been earlier as well. So it's hard to say at this point, but let's put a pin in it, I guess, and come back to it when we do it. But should we have AI introduce us to next week's track?
Yes, Dan. Is it gonna carry on your? I wonder if it's gonna carry your bias.
Well, we shall see. Well, is my bias the same as it was, though? I said I had some changes when I listened to the album. Has my bias has changed? We will find out next week. This one struts in on platform boots and heartbreak eyeliner. Snap out of it is Arctic Monkeys at their most Mark Bolan meets Elvis Costello, throwing glitter punches at apathy with a cocked hip and a cracked heart. Alex Turner plays the jilted glam crooner, finger snapping through a technicolor breakdown. He's all razzle dazzle and emotional whiplash, shaking sense into a lover lost in someone else's spell. Behind him, the band kicks like T-Rex on a sugar high. Shiny guitars jangle with menace, drums stomp like silver heels on a light-up dance floor, and the groove swings like a disco ball in a dive bar confession booth. The lyrics might plead, but delivery is pure showbiz defiance, a heartbreak anthem, dressed up for Top of the Pops, rhinestone, and ready to beg for one last shot at love. Forever isn't for everyone, but glam never dies, and neither does the hope that the chorus might wake her up, because if the fat lady fancies having a sing, Turner's still in the wings, waiting in sequins ever so patiently. So there we go.
Really leaned into the glam there. Wow.
Well, I do have to say, I think I said this at the time, but people call I Want It All a glam rock song, and we kind of sounded on that it was a bit more desert rocky than glam rock.
Yeah.
Snap Out of It is pure glam rock. There is no way that it isn't a glam rock song. It sounds exactly like a glam rock song in a lot of ways. So it's the most they've ever done, I think, in that sense. And yeah, it's one that I've said before isn't a favorite, but let's see, because I did say I changed some my opinions on some stuff. So let's find out next week what we both think of it. But but thank you very much, Justin. Subscribers, stick around for after the credits for our watching of a video of a performance and the Justin section where he takes us back to an earlier parts of the music, the discography. But other than that, we will see you all next week. Bye.
Yeah, see you next week.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Justin Toole and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. Sign up with us on Patreon to get exclusive content including coverage of The Last Shadow Puppets, Arctic Monkeys adjacent album reviews, and concert watch-alongs. If you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We'll see you next week with more of the same.